How many's in there right now?
Well, guys, here we are. We are live. We are streaming, and we got an awesome lineup here. I'm excited to see what's going to take place tonight. One of the first things I want to cover tonight, there's headlines. There's a headline I want to point out there to you guys. And it involves one of our panel members tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Once it popped up there, yeah.
Wow, what is this? What the hell did I do? United States Postal Work. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't resist. I saw your post earlier today was at work. I was like, I gotta throw this up there.
Well, thank you for that, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's about time someone gives it back to him.
Yeah.
Very good. I re-add Nikki back in here. Hold on, let me get
Where'd she
her
go?
back in here. She's here. I gotta find her again. So.
Oh.
There we go.
What happened?
I don't know
what happened. I just lost signal and it dropped me.
Yeah, I think it was the postal
I think
worker.
Richie laughed too loud.
I think
That's happened.
I think she went to go buy a paper.
Right? Yeah, get a copy.
No, I know what it is. It's my daughter streaming at the same time, so we're using up all the bandwidth.
Yeah.
That
makes sense.
News flash: Banter with Richie B on the cover headline here.
I know, right? Oh, that's right, Jim.
Well, first of all, I want to welcome on the live chat. We have a number of people already on the live chat. That's awesome. We usually have questions, and a lot of people want to share feedback. We love that. We welcome it most definitely. We'll be trying our best to watch questions on there. I mean, I try to watch it so I can pop it up on the screen so we can all see it. And I want to welcome SNX Radio. Thank you, Richie B, for connecting them with us.
Absolutely, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, get over to SNX Radio, everybody. Coley is amazing. Coley UFO, and she offered that. She's all about everybody growing together and helping each other out. So definitely check her out on YouTube, everybody, please.
Yeah, we watch her quite a bit.
She's awesome, man. You see everybody? Yeah, you should be in bed. Sorry, my dude.
Don't want me on that show because I shut it down. I crashed all of her equipment.
Was it the coffee?
No, it was actually something else. Imagine that.
Oh, there it is. Can I open that chat up? Oh, I can.
Yeah, everyone. If you're on your laptop, even if you're on your phone, you should have everyone here on the panel should have.
Yeah, you have the option. Yeah, that's different. I haven't seen that. I don't. It's funny because I don't really go on shows a lot. It's weird. I don't know what it is. It's like I'm so open. I'm loud. I like to be heard, right? But I don't really sit down on a lot of shows. It's the strangest thing. It's like I go to come in and I'm like, I don't really. No, I'm good. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I play Fortnite a lot.
Richard being loud? Nah. Well, guys, I tell you what. One of the things I do want to do to get us all started for tonight. Now, my panel from top left to right, it's going to start off with William Nighthawk, and then I'll go from there and go across everybody here. First of all, I want to welcome you guys individually while we're live. William Nighthawk, thank you for coming on tonight. This is quite the honor for you to come on with here. Now, you've been running a series of podcasts. I was wondering if you could kind of talk us through and give the audience, for those who may not know you, kind of fill us in what you do and why you do, and kind of go from there.
I've been called the weirdness doctor. I've been called the weirdness medicine man. I'm actually an ordained minister for the Native American Church. I'm also a medicine man, Lakota and Cherokee. And I've been in the paranormal field and the supernatural field my whole life. I had a near-death experience at the age of 3.5. And from that, it just magnified 150% on everything paranormal and supernatural. Had a lot of cryptid activity, interacted with a lot of Bigfoot, doing my vision quest, my humblatias, and and my Sundance ceremonies, everything, my life, all the way, and I'm 61 now. So, it's been a long time. I have my own podcast channel, Nighthawk High Strangeness, where we cover literally everything. And what you don't see written on my walls, we cover even more. So it's a brief thing. I'm not a licensed, paranormal investigator or a parapsychologist or anything like that. I am just an American military vet who has spent his whole life in the bizarre.
Awesome.
Very
Thank
cool.
you for your service.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And what YouTube channel do you broadcast on so we could direct people there if they want to check you out?
This one.
It's
right
Nighthawk High Strangeness YouTube channel.
Very cool.
Nighthawk High
Just
Strangeness podcast, and get over there, everybody, and subscribe. You know what to do. Go.
That's what he does, guys.
Yeah, my people are the best,
Thank
man.
you,
They'll
Richie.
jump right on
Share.
that. I got you, brother. Absolutely. Fellow veteran, right? We work together.
Oh, yes, sir.
Awesome. Oh, over here, next one over is David and Melissa Lester. Melissa, thank you for bringing your father David on tonight.
Daniel, dagnabbit.
Dagnabbit! Shalama Bama Ding Dong! What's wrong with you, boy?
I had to throw it out there. My mom jokes with my father all the time. Every time they go out.
Where'd William go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
William just kicked me up next in line. What's wrong with you, William?
Yeah, you guys keep rotating here on me. I gotta throw it down to get everybody back on here.
Maybe it's not us. Maybe it is you.
There he is.
I lost the signal. I completely lost the signal. The same thing that happened on SNX Radio when I was trying to go on live with them.
Really? Here we go. He's got the energy around him. I think it's just Nikki's daughter streaming.
It's knocking everybody out.
All right, back to you,
Taking
David and
everybody.
Melissa.
Blame it on
Well,
Nikki.
really-
She's all the way down in Texas.
Real quick about us. We've been married 35 years, going on 36. We met in the Army. When she was in the Army and I was in the Army, I retired in 98.
Nice.
Then I retired from the local sheriff's office here in 2018. But when I met her, she got me intoxicated. 3 days later, I woke up married. So, I mean, it's all she did from that point.
Woo-hoo, 3 days.
Been there, done that.
But as far as the Bigfoot stuff, basically, we got involved. We've been interested in the paranormal all of our life. We've had things happen in the paranormal all of our life various times. And some of it we actually have documented on video. Due to my two careers, we really couldn't get into researching, obviously, and the Bigfoot stuff. So we met Daniel roughly 5 years ago. We've been tagging on his shirt tail now for 5 years. So hopefully this year we'll be able to graduate from him and do a little bit more. But he's been a good mentor on that, getting us in the right direction and stuff as far as research. And we try to keep things in perspective with our knowledge and stuff like that. We're not running out there in the woods and every shadow and all, everything you see is Bigfoot or paranormal. You know, we try to rationalize like Richie B and everybody else does. You got to try to debunk what you come across to get some validity about what you're looking for.
100%.
And that's where we're at our point. And if I never get Daniel to quit buying me equipment, I might be able to do a little bit more. He'll send me a text and, hey, look at this. Next thing you know, I'm out buying it, and then we got more equipment to work with.
Well, I'm broke.
You gotta have
so
tools out there in the field.
Usually, since I'm broke all the time, I need to try to get you to buy 2 of everything I present to you.
Yeah, let me show you how to use that. Hey, where's that back? Anybody seen that? I bought it 2 months ago. Where is it?
Well, that's Daniel too. He finds stuff he bought 3 years ago. He forget he had, So, but that's where we're at in our research and stuff right now. And William's been a help, a big blessing in that too, with all his knowledge and whatnot. Some of the things we've encountered, he gave us a little bit of insight on it and what to do. Which, if we have time, we can go into it later on the podcast. But that's where we're at.
Absolutely.
And it's fun.
It is fun, isn't it? My name's Richie B. What's happening? I had Bigfoot in my backyard in the Bridgewater Triangle in southeastern Mass, and I kept it secret for about 8 years. I didn't really tell nobody. I didn't really know who the hell to tell. I mean, the hell do you tell people? You know, they'll lock you up. But not that I haven't been locked up before. And I could vouch for David as well. I could vouch for David. Melissa got me drunk, and we ended up married as well. So that's a thing that
You didn't have a motorcycle.
yeah, that's true. I know. I was on a scooter. But no, so yeah, it's been a long ride for me. And then you know, through some tragedy in my life, I found passion, and this was my therapy, was getting on the podcast and telling my story and kind of sharing it. And that's, like my boy Wojo will tell you when you get to him, you know, that's brought other people out. And I've been through some of that negative stuff in the Bigfoot world, and I shut all those people out, and I've opened up a community of fellow researchers, fellow critical minds, a lot of good people. They don't have to think like I do, you know what I mean? But we have to be able to discuss things respectfully. And the community that I feel that I've built does that. The Banter with Richie B podcast network as well. We have 5 shows on there now. It's pretty amazing setup with all the people I love. I see my producer out there, Sam. Sam's pretty paranormal. She's amazing. And Kurt and Denny and just a bunch of people I see over here. I know Tyler's out there watching, and Mike Nation, and Z's over here. Just, you know, it's always, you know, they're always there to support. And when you're dealing with this type of stuff, as everybody here can tell you, that type of support helps, because there's times where you know, my rational brain grabs me all the time, and to be able to have a conversation with somebody that understands where I'm coming from helps. And the different levels of research I'm finding. I started out flesh and blood. I started out, you know, primate in the woods, you know. I even bought into that Gigantopithecus shit for a week. You know what I mean? So, you know, and you just graduate different levels, I feel. And it's good to have the people around me that do that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if you watch us on YouTube Live, hit the like, subscribe, and notify button to Bigfoot Banter Richie B. And you come out in the woods and be a researcher with us. Get on your headphones, hear what we hear, see what we see, you know. And that's what we do. And Saturday night, we have a podcast. And like I said, we have a bunch of other podcasts on the network now. So thanks for having me, and good to sit with you guys. Honor. Thank you.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here. And, you know, I got to say thank you, too. You know, I've been honored to be a guest on your podcast as well. So that's been awesome. You know, I had a lot of fun with you guys.
Yeah, we're frat chicks. That's what we are. You know, but we're serious researchers. But we just, you know, when the opportunity arises, we just get stupid. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, you guys are like a bunch of cheerleaders. I mean, because I remember when Wojo come in the room with his pom poms. You know.
Yeah. We don't. He might bring those out tonight if you play your cards right.
I brought the tassels too. Believe me. Woohoo!
Yes, come on, girl.
And then his cute little tutu.
Yeah, exactly.
Very awesome.
Well, I'm
cut in line. You cut in line. Shut up. Rude.
Oh,
Nikki, go ahead. Sorry about my co-host. He's on an Android. He doesn't know any better.
He's used to following you, I guess.
Your daughter's streaming. Hurry up.
So, hey, y'all. I'm Nikki. I'm here in El Paso, Texas, and I have a channel called Sasquatch Secrets. Nice. Had it for about 4 years now, and a little bit different channel than most folks. We don't really talk about the encounter stories or the, I don't know, you know, the general stuff that people normally talk about. I go for the more nefarious stuff on my channel. We like to talk about the hoaxes and the hoodwinks that go on in the Bigfoot community. I'm a full Bigfoot junkie. Love to talk about more about the actual research, how we would go about it, people who are boots on the ground. And that's where it kind of center my whole channel. We do topics. I bring on a panel of guests. We discuss everything under the sun regarding to Bigfoot. And several times over after 4 years. You definitely bring over. Thank you very much. Yep, that's me. And Daniel and I go way back to oh my gosh, it's been more than 10 years already.
Oh, easily. Well, I think we first met on one of Shane Bradbury's podcasts, which he no longer
Yeah.
exists on here. He dropped off of social media, but
Right. Yeah. He had the
yeah.
Bigfoot hour out back then. And that's
Looking
when
for
we first
Bigfoot
started
and all
doing
that.
podcasts.
Yeah.
And it just grew from there. And then Daniel had me on his show a couple times. And then it got to be regular thing where we would get together, talk about finding Bigfoot and the shows and getting Henry May involved. And yeah, we had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun. I've been able to go over to Virginia a couple of times now. So that's been a lot of fun. Got to go to Daniel's event and then up and
Uh-oh.
We lost her.
I told you had to get there before her daughter streamed.
Hey, where's she at?
Oh, she got kicked again, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
That was an abrupt kicking. That's that streaming thing.
Yeah. Hold on,
That's what she said she was gonna have trouble with. That's why I cut Wojo off so she could get something in. Because hey, yes, she is.
who cut me off that time?
Yeah, you're
I wasn't
last in
talking
line.
that
You're
long.
last. No, you're last in line now. Sorry, ma'am.
Good thing I was done. Good.
And that's all she has to say about that.
Yeah, that's all.
Somebody on here says Wojo looks like a supermodel. I want to know what's up with that.
That's my That's our other producer, Amanda Lombardo from the Phantom Navigator podcast. That's on our network.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. She doesn't talk nice about me anymore. She used to, but it's all about Wojo. He does look like a supermodel. I don't know what a model of what. He looks like a
Hey,
supermodel.
listen.
You look like a
Can't
bus.
help it. Don't be jealous, Dave. Come on.
You look like a supermodel of a bus.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. Short one, but still a bus. But go ahead.
I don't see how you two
very
can
short
take
one.
a gun out in the woods when you're out there running around. You two are a trip. Wojo and Richie B.
If you heard the thing we end up saying, like I have to get up close to him and like show the live because he zooms in with his Android. The only good thing that an Android is good for is the camera. So I zoom in on it like that, and he's like, "Is that the knocker?" And I'm like, "No, glad to see you." You know what I mean? And everybody's like, "What?"
Well, he's coming from behind me. And he's swinging his arm in front of my eyesight to try to get in front of my phone. But yeah, he's pushing me forward. And I just like stopped and turned at him. I said, "Is that your tree knocker?"
And I'm like, "No." It's just things like that. But that's the mentality we have. It's serious, but we have fun. Go ahead, Wojo. Who are you and what the hell you doing here?
Yeah, you gotta have fun.
Yeah, well, all right. So hey, I'm the Wojo. I was like a hitchhiker until this like van pulled up and it said "Banter with Richie B" on it. He's like, "Hey, I want to go squatch." And I'm like, "No, I'm just looking for something to eat, man." But
You like puppies?
Well, anyways, I'm the Wojo. Thank you for having me on here. And real quick was that I've known Richie for like over 25 years. We played softball with and against each other, and then I noticed he had a podcast, and so I gave him a phone call. I'm like, "Hey, what's up with this podcast?" He goes, "I got Bigfoot in my backyard." I go, "Get the hell out of here." He goes, "No, I really do." So now I was so intrigued, and I told him, "Well, I was a hunter in the woods, but I go, I never find these things and whatever." And he's like, "Yeah." So he calls me up the next day. He's like, "Listen, my producer got sick. Do you want to go out with me on an investigation?" And I said, "I want to see what you're seeing." So we went out there and find some interesting stuff. Let's put it that way. And ever since that investigation, I just been going with him ever since. I've been down that rabbit hole of finding out what's going on in these woods and why and everything else. And 2 years later, actually in between that, I became co-host of the Banter with Richie B show on Saturday nights at 6 p.m. and which was like, it's just been an incredible ride. And then now I have my own show. It's called Home of the Boom on Tuesday nights at 6:30. Boom! 7 o'clock, excuse me. And on the Richie B podcast network. Sure. So, and this is where I'm at. Me and Rich go out like once or twice a week. And I'll tell you, it is a ride. I just love what's going on in these woods.
It's crazy.
Very awesome. Richard gave me a little bit of history on you when he first met you. He was like, like the neighborhood group of kids that were playing baseball or something in the neighborhood, and he felt sorry for you because you were like the last kid that didn't get picked, and so he had to bring you on somehow.
You know, that's. Let me tell you. No. Let me tell you something about this guy. Do not be fooled by him. All right, he is a solid mass of human muscle and hits scuds about 400, 500 feet if he wants. Lefty, absolute dog. So I'm bringing him out of retirement this year to play on my team because I guarantee, as old as he is now, he'll hit him like 350. That's it.
Hey, listen, 38 years, 38 championships later.
Yep.
I think it's time to come out of retirement and look for another one.
Yep, let's go.
So,
Let's go.
it's great to be with all of you folks, and it's great to meet you,
Awesome.
Nikki and William.
Nice to meet you all.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Meet you too, Ojo.
Well, Richard and Wojo, real quick, how much area do you all have? I watch your live quite a bit when I'm here at the house drinking coffee. How much area do you actually have that you can go out into that's yours, or what may even boundaries you have around it that expands into?
Yeah, and we get asked that because we don't have a big area. You know what I mean? Compared to where'd they go? Oh, you're gonna have them ask a question and throw them out after? That's a good idea, Daniel. I got to keep that. I got to keep that in mind for my show.
I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know. Hold on here. I got him coming right
tonight.
here.
But,
now we're going. Oh, there we.
What the heck?
Oh, so
Yeah.
I'll jump in and Wojo can finish up. But yeah, so in my area, in my backyard, I owned about approximately 3 acres of land. It's kind of a dog leg, but it owned next to it, and there's a preserve and there's a conservation land. And together that's 94 acres, and it abuts a major river out back. It's 1.1 miles from my back door, the river. We have worked our way through there, kind of bobbing and weaving, watching all the different things that we find, whether it's structures, prints, sounds, whatever we're dealing with on the research. And we ended up 2.5 miles from that location to where we are today. So I would say anywhere, if you put it in a circle, I always say it's a 5-mile circle. I don't know how far off I am. He's our direction guy. Would you agree with that, Wojo?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely within the 5-mile zone where there's a lot of activity. Where excuse me. Well, real quick, one day, Richie and his partner, they had to pull off to the side of the road, heading back to Richie's house, and in this part of the woods, they heard like walking and things like that. And he told me the story. And so we decided to go into these woods where we are now, and we just kind of wandered around and then stumble upon like this area right now of these woods where it is bigger. The ecosystem is absolutely like incredible. You got rivers, you got swamps, and you got it all. And it's flatlands, by the way, too. So we don't have hills, we don't have mountains or anything like that nearby, but very forestry. And for where Richie's house is a few miles away, so there is like a big circle around. So we've got a lot of activity and a lot to cover.
Yeah, like William out there. I know William has a lot of activity in the back of his yard too, where he lives out in Thomas Brook. Yeah,
nice. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That's wild, man. It was wild for me. I mean,
it's funny you guys talking about you guys only have small areas, or just on your property, I mean, like David and Melissa, they know when we go camping or we go to our main research area, it's hundreds and thousands of acres of woods in this area, all part of the national forest. But over the years, I'm in the valley, I'm about almost 45 minutes to an hour to my research area. It depends on what part of the area I go to, but right here, living at home, I've been learning stories just north of me here or on the back roads out here. The Blue Ridge Mountains is right here in our backyard. I mean, we're down here in the valley, and then you go out to the national forest, you start to go back up the elevation because the mountains start up again out there. So, I mean, we're basically right here down in the flat, in the lower land. But, at the same time, we are a higher elevation compared to the east side of the Blue Ridge, So it's interesting how things work out, 'cause you hear of sightings in rural areas. I mean, I'm gathering information right now in one particular area here in Virginia. There's been numerous activity, I've heard from a few different sources, but one in particular I've been focusing on more recently as this gentleman got brought up to my attention, and I've had one-on-one conversations with him. So he's going to be an upcoming guest here in a couple weeks, and it's I don't know. I'm just looking forward to learning more information from this area. He's already given me permission to camp and explore there. So when the weather gets warmer, so I don't know. We'll see. But
Daniel, I'm only a mile from either mountain range where I'm at, so I get a lot of activity here. So, and then you put all the streams and the railroad tracks and power lines and all this other easy travel routes that they can take. Not to mention the underground cave systems and stuff around here in Virginia.
Yeah, that's what intrigues me. Absolutely.
Yeah, can I ask William something?
Yeah, sure.
Just along your line of research technique type, you know what I mean? Like whatever. I get a gist of what you're doing. Do you feel, and Mike Nation just brought it up, they're way closer than what anybody thinks. Do you feel a lot of it has to do with the person researching?
I think it has a lot to do with the person being connected to the location, to the environment.
Okay. All right.
And the reason I say that, Richie, and Wojo, you probably experienced it too, being out there with Richie, when a connection to the environment that you're researching in, and that connection's in a good way, a lot of the weirdness happens. Okay. You start hearing things, you start seeing things out of your peripheral vision, you start spotting lights that don't normally pop in at. Okay. And I'm talking orbs and all kinds of strange stuff. So I think what I always tell everybody they need to do before they go out and do any cryptid investigation, dog man, lizard man, goat man, I don't, whatever, up there, pig man too. So,
don't forget,
what I always tell them to do is you got to make that connection to the environment. Like I told David and Melissa, that you take your shoes and your socks off, curl your toes on before you go in, feel that dirt and that grass underneath your feet, put your shoes and your stuff back down, go over and touch a tree for just a couple minutes and just, do it in a good way. And I guarantee you're going to have things open up to you. So,
so William, I mean, yeah, because we do a lot of like meditation and things like that. Because the nature the woods brings out a lot to us, and the areas that we do go to, we don't have to walk so far.
Well, really, I mean, we don't have legends like Spearfinger and Che Oyate, the nation as the Lakota people call him Big Brother. We don't have these legends just because we like to make up things. These legends are connected to the environment, to Mother Earth. And the more people realize that, the more you're connected to your location where you're living, the more respect you give the energy within below your feet, and the air that you breathe, and the wildlife there, the more interaction you're going to have with all the weirdness, and not just Bigfoot and Dog Man and all these other things. You're going to have lights in the sky. You're going to have floating orbs in the woods. You're going to shadows, all kinds of stuff. Pugwudgies are a big one up by you too. So
some of that stuff he's talking about now is his last two campouts. Exactly what he's talking about. We've been going to this area now for 3 years. What he's talking about, we've actually experienced ourselves where we're at now, from lights, mechanical equipment, electrical equipment problems and issues, electrical equipment turning on and off by themselves. Never happened before. It's what William is saying is 100%. And if you don't get out there and make contact with stuff, I don't know if it's just, I mean, we're practical about it. We keep an open mind about what's going on, but we've never had this.
If anybody doesn't think that personal energies and personal connection to Makawa Khan, Sacred Mother Earth is a thing, then just watch when I go on a podcast, because my energies alone kick me off the podcast all the time. Like I said, and I'm sure SNX Radio in the chat can confirm, I literally crashed their equipment when I was going on to a live one night and I waited for about an hour to go on, but she couldn't do it. She had to get new equipment because of it. There is so much in this world that people that adapted to understanding or having or thinking outside like indigenous people do, they don't want to comprehend it. It's like they're afraid that if they think it exists, it's going to harm them in some way, and it's not that way. Energy works both positive and your negative on a battery terminal. You know, you got your good energy and you got your bad energy. This is a duality world, you know, that we live in. You can't have hot without cold. You can't have anger and hatred without love and unconditional love. You know, there's always that duality. So what I usually tell them when they have a bad experience with, you know, a red glowing-eyed Bigfoot or whatever, or red orbs, they had to have done something to offend the environment. They had to have done something because a lot of the stuff that we are experiencing that step away from the flesh and blood aspect of the cryptid world is more of an elemental type of a being, like little people, you know, and other elementals. And I'm a firm believer too that elementals can take any form, including a Bigfoot or a dog man or a goat man or a pig man, you know, a lizard man. Whatever they know will trigger you, they can take that form.
Well,
that's just you
I
know,
want to
from
make
my
about what happened
experience.
this past summer. Maybe William or Nick, if somebody can expand on it. Since we've been with Daniel, we've been out doing Bigfoot research. We wasn't looking for this other stuff. This past year, it's like it came to us bit by bit. We all experienced it in the group, one way or the other. And it was just it wasn't an individual experience. It was one, I mean, it was two or more people at the same time having that same experience. So, I mean, we wasn't looking for it, but it came to us. And now that's expanded our research even more besides Bigfoot, which is our primary focus. But now we're so captivated about the stuff that happened on the last two campouts. It's given us more to look at, to get in more in depth with, to see what happens. Main focus is going to be Bigfoot. And then if we're going to be ready for this other stuff, I mean, even more so. I mean, I just recently went out. I just bought you got to have equipment, and we piece it together as we go. And it just, my action cam one night picked up some electrical static. We don't have electrical power. It's all primitive. You carry in what you're going to take. We're out there a week. You take it out when you leave. But just to try to get answers, I got a Geiger counter, alpha, beta, gamma radiation detector, X-ray detector. It's not top of the line. It's not $2,000 or $3,000, but it's just another tool to have out there in the woods. That way, if we have experiences or to test the areas, stuff like that, from your thermals, is there any abnormal radiation on any of those levels out there in the woods? I mean, it's just trying to tie pieces together. And I just find it fascinating. And you know, we love it. You know, camping, camaraderie, get out there in the woods, connect with nature. I love the transition from day to night because you just feel that shift, the aura shifts when you're out there.
Yeah, you do.
And I just wish people that live in the concrete jungle would leave it for sometimes, not down to the city park, but to get out there in the real woods, the real environment, the national forest, with nobody else around or very few people. We don't camp with 50 other campers around us or anything like that. Those camp parks, I mean, that's not us for that. We go out in primitive areas, pretty much isolated. But if anybody can expand on why it might be coming to us now, I'm open for information on that. I mean, we wasn't looking for it, but I'd be doggone. And Daniel, times, you know. And
well, I think amazing. I'd like to say that
you haven't seen nothing yet.
Thank you, William.
You know, Lester, David.
Yeah.
I think we all have found that more and more you get more action right around your own campground than you do when you're out you know, not to say hunting, but when you're out hiking or doing your trails, that the odds are something might follow you back, you're trying to interest them into following you back to get those little pieces of, happenings, whatever it is, come follow you back, because I'm pretty hardcore flesh and blood, and many of my group are the same. Yet we have all come to a conclusion that uh, it's about just making yourself available. That they're so elusive now, and I feel the population has declined a little bit. That they're gonna come if they want you to see them. They're gonna come to you. If you have
Yeah,
good intentions or whatever, they're gonna come to you.
yeah,
Um,
I see
and
what
you
you're
just
saying
have
on
to be
that.
available.
Yeah, I see what you're saying on that aspect. Most of the electric equipment we had, the failures, the batteries going dead and coming back up, and so on and
Hmm.
so forth. Some of it happened at the campsite because we leave people back when we go out at night and stuff like that, for safety and in case we need a vehicle. Somebody gets hurt when we're out in the woods hiking at nighttime, because I mean we go out, but the lights was about maybe a half a mile away from camp. Another incident was half a mile. It's always like a half mile radius so far that we experienced, and
Right.
as well as camp. And at the same time, when we seen the light, they were having electrical issues at camp with the radios and stuff. It was the batteries going up and down. So yeah, I see what you're saying on that, how they follow you back, but that's new to us. I mean, we've experienced paranormal throughout our life, one degree or another, and now that we're out doing this, it's just opened up a whole new world. At least for me and Melissa and Daniel too, I believe, because the way he's getting it more on the. When we first met Daniel, he was more on the Bigfoot side. He got us involved in it, teaching us about Bigfoot, so on and so forth. And now this other stuff is happening. I can see his mind shift from
Can't blame
strictly
me.
Bigfoot to the possibility of something else going on.
He don't have a choice.
No, he don't have a choice, especially when he's with us. But Bridget, have you and Mojo seen anything like that or experienced anything like that?
Get Woj.
Well, go for it, Rich.
No,
Well,
no, you.
how about this? I will do a follow up on what you're all saying. Is that when we started to go into this our area right now, and going into these woods of it was brand new to us and what have you, and in time you started seeing shifts of things. You started hearing more whoops. You're hearing them walking and things like that. And I think the longer you research in the same area, the more energy, the more because they're trying. I believe they're trying to figure you out too. They know your intentions before you even show up to the to this to our where we park and stuff like that. They just know our intentions, and the energy shifts. I believe in good ways. And as for our equipment, we never had a problem for a while until we started, like I said, more whoops, more the energy shifting. Now, Rich, you might as well explain, like, because Rich is on live and he's got the, he's on live and,
Yeah.
and
And
it keeps having his problems.
yeah, no, and that's one thing that I know. I don't need to hear it. I understand. I have a phone in my hand, and it's kind of out of character. And people say I'm going to experience less because I have it and all that stuff. But if nobody's doing it, none of us are going to know. And with the connection I feel that I have, trust me, I feel guilty at times going home. We've left recorders, and we have a recording that I think is historical, and I haven't released yet. I'm waiting for a moment to do it, but it's theirs, and I feel guilty about just releasing it. So, whenever we take something from them, you have this connection that you feel like you have loyalty to them and you're letting them down. It's a wild, crazy feeling that felt you never felt anything like that. And when you say that, you almost sound crazy. And when I hear myself say it, I almost sound crazy to me and my rational side of my brain. But I know what's happening. I'm standing in it, watching it. And when they're around, I know when they're around. And then like the YouTube will just freeze up and they'll kick us off. You have like 50 people watching, boom, kick 6. And it's always the same ones that have been loyal as well that watch, that come back. And it's like they're almost too many people watching me. Get out of here. Let's start this over with the ones I trust. That's what I feel is happening. and it's not always just about signal. And if you're in the paranormal world, I did paranormal for over a decade with my family. We had a team, Atlantic Coast Paranormals, and it was the same types of energies that you feel. So I feel with their dealing, and I believe there is some flesh and blood in here, 100%. But I also feel that as humans, like, what do they say? You see, what's the percentage of sound you hear? What's the percentage of light you see? Think about all those percentages. They're very low. I think heron's like 0.035 or something.
Yep.
So if you go into that, you have to understand, I believe we're dealing with a being on a higher frequency that has different abilities that we don't know much about, in a sense. And if we opened up all our brain, we probably all drop dead from an overload, to be quite honest with you. I just feel there's more of the brain that's opened up and more abilities to be had. So we have a lot. My point is, we have a lot of connection issues, just as if I was ghost hunting.
Well, Richie, let me ask you this, since you mentioned about that. We have the chameleon, we have fish, we have octopus.
Correct.
That have the ability.
Same theory.
To what?
You and I are on the same exact page. I've said the same sentence to Wojo many times.
And on my color, blend in with the environment like that. Why
couldn't they?
Cannot the possibility exist for Bigfoot to do the same thing?
It does exist, I believe now. And I didn't believe that before. And I would never have bought into that when I just started this as a novice. But the bottom line is, I like you said, if you think it's physical, we already have physical creatures that can do that. An octopus is like turning on a light switch. Boom, it's different. It's right into its environment instantaneously. Not only that,
0.3 seconds. Yep.
Yeah, and look at the infrasound. Infrasound is something that tigers use, that whales use. Why couldn't that's easy. I've been zapped twice, laying in bed for almost 4 days, both times.
Well, let me ask you this, Richie. Let me ask you this, Richie, Nikki, and Wojo, and Daniel, and everybody, and David, and Melissa. Let me put this past you. If wildlife can actually imprint on something or somebody like a wolf does, and mark it to as we're, like, say, a human interacting with a wolf, because they have done that with me. We had wolves growing up, and we actually helped a mountain lion family up too, that was local. And the one thing that I've wondered is that when you have your first and second experience with it doesn't matter cryptid, really, for that matter, because I believe that they are all part of the mental force that is in the land around us. Mm-hmm. You're walking on land and walking that have been walked on for thousands of years by indigenous people. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, what makes people think that our indigenous ways in the old days weren't rubbed off a little bit onto the cryptid aspect of it, like Sasquatch and Bigfoot? Okay. My own father would tell me stories of us just like they were another force tribe, okay, as a child. And, at one time, we even came together and did like an annual, almost like a rendezvous where we came together. We had wrestling matches. We shared our goods, our wares, our skins, our food. We taught each other. And I'm talking thousands of years ago, okay, with AD. And, what makes people think that they can't have their own medicine people, their own shaman, their own spiritual path, okay? And that some of them have elevated to a point where they can bluff charge you and not even be there. And I know some people out there have been bluff charged and not seen anything in front of them. Okay. So, when we're dealing with the forces of indigenous cultures all around the world, not just here in America, South America too. South America has legend of star beings coming down as giants in front of them and demanding things of them. And if they don't give them what they demand, bad stuff happens. Okay. The same principle. Okay. These beings a lot longer than we have. Okay.
I agree.
And I've always been one to kind of believe that maybe we're the ones that are the aliens on the planet, and this was originally theirs. That's just a theory, you know?
Yeah, that's to me. That's not even a theory. I think they're the first ones. That's where I'm at. That's honestly where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Nikki, what about you?
Yep.
Well, I kind of come from a different. I'm not a knower. Okay, I haven't seen a Bigfoot. I had a really
We haven't either.
I have had a very weird moment on the side of Mount St. Helens that has made me feel like there's really something out there. I didn't know how I was going to react to that. You know how they always say, "Oh, I'm brave. You know, I can go out in the woods in the dark and walk with all of my group, and I can go out by myself." And but the minute something happens, the minute something happens,
What
the? Hold on, Nikki. I'm coming, Nikki. Hold on. I see you there again. Damn it, man.
Poor Nikki.
Stop it.
What the?
It's funny because the moon above you looks like it's spinning, like you're loading.
I know. That's what I keep saying the same thing. I know. I was like, I keep looking at her screen. I was like, crap, there's something going on here.
Oh my God. I don't know what's happening. But anyway, I better have to talk faster now.
You're okay.
Just one night after 5 nights on the side of Mount St. Helens, this was in 2023. Last night we had just taken down all of the equipment, all of the trail cams, recorders, everything was full. My phone was full, camera was full, everything, you know, videos, just we were done. We were exhausted. We were ready to go to bed. That night at the campfire, things started to feel different, definitely different. And we heard some sounds we hadn't heard the last 4 nights, you know, kind of like maybe mumbling, maybe growls, maybe something there. It made us uncomfortable. We decided, you know what, let's just go to bed. It could be a bear. And that's what we did. We went to bed, and not a couple of hours later, I started hearing something at the garbage because we neglected to put the garbage up. It stayed down on the floor. And I thought, oh God, we got some bears. We have some bears, you know, in the camp. And that night, one of my friends, Brent Dill, he took his bear spray with him because he left that night. He had to head back to Seattle. So I was without any bear spray or anything that last night. So I didn't want to really peek my head out the tent. And it wasn't a tent. It was one of those Arctic type canopies where there's no floor, you know, it's just right on top of the ground. And I listened and listened, and I could hear something rumbling through the garbage. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to have such a mess in the morning. Okay. That's what we get for not putting up our garbage. And then I'd hear it going through all the seats, all the lawn chairs. You could hear them moving around. You heard it go around to where we had our camp shower. And then another hour later, all of a sudden, I could hear the walking, the bipedal boom, 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 right to the back of the corner where my head was. And it stopped. And then it leaned down to me, like, you know, if you're in a tent and you can tell when somebody's on the outside of your tent, you know, it's super thin. Something leaned down and it went cha, like that. And I froze. I completely, totally froze. I couldn't move my body. And it's leaned back up. It stopped. And then it walked back to the garbage and proceeded going through the garbage again.
Were you alone?
I was alone in my tent, and then in a tent next to me was Jennifer Watkins.
Okay. Okay.
And across in front of me was a little mini trailer. We had Jay Birch with us and his wife, and they had one of those little bitty trailers. And they were in their trailer. And another guy, Dakota, was a little bit further down. So
Nikki,
she
go ahead.
heard things too that night. So that we kind of corroborated later. Well, I thought that was you. No, I thought that was you type of stuff, you know? And I heard something get in and out of the creek that next morning. I didn't sleep all night. I got like a series of 3 videos on my channel where I was doing like a Blair Witch project. All you see is my face, you know? It was a Sasquatch witch or Blair Witch project thing that I had going on there. And I was trying to document everything that was happening, but I couldn't get out of my cot. I wasn't going to get out of my cot. I had already made up my mind. I have nothing to protect myself if it was a bear. But no signs were there indicating it was a bear. No sniffs, no snorts, no clawing at the tent, no huffs, growl, you know, that deep guttural that most bears make when they're in the garbage. We've seen thousands of videos of people videotaping bears in their garbage outside their garage, you know.
Well,
None.
when it came to the garbage, did it leave a mess outside the garbage itself, or was it like clean?
Glad you asked that, because the next morning we all got up, confirmed that we had all heard stuff going on that night. We walked over to the garbage. There was not a mess.
Wow.
There was. We had a bunch of cooks with us, so we were eating good out there. And what it was were the balls of foil, you know, that you wrap your meat up in. They were opened up and they were licked clean.
Wow.
And those
Not
were
tore up, opened
those
up
were
like
around the floor, but there was everything that I heard was still right there. Was still right there in the garbage. It was just the foil packets had come out. And I kept thinking if it was a skunk or a raccoon, they would have tore that stuff.
Oh,
that's what I was going to bring up. Yeah,
Would have
easily.
been
so it had
everywhere.
to have a thumb to do that. Yeah,
Yeah, and that was not the case. And
Nikki went.
also, there was a thing of cookies on top of the table that had got left out, not touched.
Excuse me.
It was not touched. The cookies and the sugar cubes that we had, not touched. I think if it had been a bear, they would have gone for those sugar cubes for sure.
They
But
would have eaten everything.
yeah, everything would on the table would have been knocked on the floor, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We did find tracks, couple here laying around all over, and there was all wet coming up from the creek, the little creek. It was all wet, and we found a
Always
couple of
connected to water, Nikki.
footsteps there.
Yeah. One thing I do want to touch on that real quick. Now, you recall hearing the footsteps, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. The reason I want to bring that kind of lingered in my mind. Now, I personally, right here in Virginia, I mean, I've camped a lot by myself, you know, in the George Washington National Forest. And either hiking, camping, whatever, I've had a lot of encounters. I've seen bears, some close, some distant. I've even woken up to a bear on the outside of my tent. I've been in the middle of the daytime walking into other people's camp to talk to them about stuff, having bears dropping out of the trees and running off. So I've seen a lot of bears. I have a lot of. I like to. I feel it's safe to say that I have a lot of experience with bears and hearing bears and how they maneuver. Uh, because of the padding on their feet, I honestly believe this is just my opinion. I'm not making this as a fact, but I honestly believe that if it was a bear, I don't think you would have heard them at all. I really believe bears are very quiet when they walk, unless they're running.
Okay, I see what you're saying about their actual steps. Yeah, no, it was definite boom 4 steps, as a matter of fact, that I can totally recall coming up this little berm, because my tent was right off the side of a berm, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was right at the corner of my tent.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there were two footsteps there, 2 prints that were only about I think we gauged it about 10 inches, which was a little bit bigger than my foot. Okay. So it was not big. And which
Could have been
kind of
young.
lends
Yeah.
to how I felt something came down, because this thing couldn't have been more than maybe 6 feet.
Nikki, can you
Um,
say that what the sound that it made was near your tent? The verbal
it
communication
it
it said.
went cha like that,
Interesting.
just like that.
Was it a word or a sound?
A a sound,
All
Well,
right.
because it
that's the
didn't
thing,
it didn't
and
finish it. It blew. It didn't blow it. Well, kind of, but it like came from its
Oh yeah,
gut.
we know.
It didn't come from like
that's the
here.
thing
It
with
came
Mike.
from
Mike in the
here.
chat the same thought I had. That sounds Native American, to tell you the truth.
That's what I was gonna
There's a
say. It sounded like
dialect out there. Yeah, there's a dialect out there that, and I can't remember which one, because I know three of them right now.
is it
Um,
Salish?
that's what I'm thinking, and
It
I
is
Salish?
think it
common out
meant.
that way.
It
Yeah.
could have
Yeah,
been
Well,
Salish.
Ojibwe.
That
I
was that
think it meant.
area.
I think that word, that cha sound, means like go or leave or something,
Yeah.
something along
Hmm.
that lines.
Yep.
It was definitely a strong blow sound that I feel needed to have like lips. Okay, because like, well, I couldn't picture that coming out of a deer or a bear. It was just forceful. It was very forceful and strong. It wasn't light, like a cha. It was
Yeah,
cha. It was
yeah, it was
right
guttural. It
at
was really
the
deep.
thing.
Yeah,
Richie, you
yeah,
Yeah.
hearing this?
Yeah, I am, dude. I am.
Because it happened to me 3 times.
Yep.
yeah.
And like something like whispered in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Richie and our friend Denny were further away, and I had infrared on them with my phone. Excuse me. And all of a sudden, I hear something go like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like a blow of air, and it just sounded like right at my ear. And
Yeah.
I turned real quick, put my phone down just to see if there's any like self illuminations of any
Mm-hmm.
action or anything like that. I saw nothing, but it freaked me out because it was right there. And then
Yeah.
another time that we were all by the river, and I had the recording of it. You could hear, and
Yeah.
and another time when Richie showed up in the woods, and I was with our friend Susan, and you could just tell, I could feel like an energy shift, and because Richie's
Mm-hmm.
here, and Richie brings a lot of energy, and all of a sudden I hear into your ear. And then I turned and looked at Susan. She looked at me, and she goes, "What did you hear?" I go, "You heard that, right?" Because she asked me,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "What did you hear?" She goes, "I don't know. It sounded like." I go, "It was right in my ear."
Mm-hmm.
This is during the daytime, by the way, and there's nothing
Wow.
around me, but it's just unbelievable.
I
Well,
look. I'm sorry. I looked something up. It says Chawa Cha Navajo. We're coming for you.
a little bit further away from the Navajo right there, but it was, yeah.
Well, technically, I mean,
Careful.
you have the Navajo Skinwalker legends and stuff, and the Paiute legends there in throughout Nevada and up into Idaho and into Utah. So it's really technically, I mean,
Yeah,
when
you
it
cut
comes
them out.
to a big tribe, a big nation like the Navajo Nation, the Dene people are massive, and who knows how far they reached at one point in time.
Yeah, actually, I think it did. There is lineage saying, well, they did originate far, far up north in Canada and came down
Mhm.
originally. So it's absolutely possible. During that same night, I had heard what I thought was Jennifer moving her suitcase,
Mm.
because she was right next to us, and I thought she's hearing what I'm hearing, and now she's moving around in there. But the next day, it turns out it wasn't either one of us. And we realized that right in the middle of our tent, in between our two tents, was a big black tote, one of those totes with the yellow lids on it.
Yeah.
And it had extra sleeping bags for us in case we got cold. Well, um, that's what we heard. We heard something pick that up and drop it. That's what it sounded like. Because then she went and did it, and it was exactly the same sound coming from inside my tent and in hers. It was that tote, something lifted it, not drag it. It was like lifted and dropped. And I don't think a skunk or a raccoon could have totally lifted that big thing, but
A bear wouldn't have been able to do that either. Not
I
lift it
think it
up.
would
And
have
things.
drug it,
No.
like, bashed
Yeah.
it around, and it
Oh,
would
yeah,
have
it would have
hit one
knocked
of
it
our
around.
tents because it was just enough room for that in between our
Only
tents.
way I see a bear lifting it up unless it took it in its mouth. Because bears
Its
do have
mouth.
they have a lot of strength in
Right.
their jaws. I mean, because up there, what's more common up there? I'm sure you got brown bears and grizzlies and black bears are out there too. But it would have had to been a fairly decent sized bear with some strength. The bears do
Right.
have a lot of pressure in their jaw and strength, but it would have to lift it, pick it up, bite on it, lift it up, then drop it. That's the only way I could see that happening. But
Right.
that's my opinion, though.
Yeah, one thing I can say about sound. So I'll give you a little insight as the recordings that we have. So we have a gifting area, and we didn't record for a long time. Kind of wanted things to get comfortable and settle down. And we magnetized this recorder up underneath with an earth magnet up underneath this metal chair that we had found in the woods. And it had been the gifting area for a long time. And I have recordings of what Nikki spoke about, not the sound, but the padded feet sound. And I call it, 3 very big steps, because you can hear him go, thum, 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 and then he stops. So I know what that was. You know what I mean? So, but as time went on, I pulled the recorder. I had that guilt feeling again. And then I was like, you know what? I think it's time that, that they feel comfortable. So what we believe we have recording wise is them in their own environment, not necessarily what we hear with whoops and howls and all that stuff, which is really registered for us. Let's be honest. They're not going to sit there and look across the kitchen table and go, whoa! I mean, I do that, but they won't. You know what I mean? Or, or howl, oh, what does that mean? I've actually heard them talk from 80 feet away with two other researchers. One of them was from that 4-letter word that I don't say. It starts with a B. But but we heard them go back and forth. And when they got done, they chest popped. And then that was it. It went back and forth twice, and they were talking about us. I felt that, but we have this recording, and in this recording, you can hear this very high pitch click, and back and forth where they're almost arguing over. I think they found my battery. Well, I know they found my battery pack because it's live on YouTube. The battery pack was thrown, but you can hear them go back and forth, and you hear this really like sound, and then it goes into this sound, and what my point is, when you hear the sounds and the words, once you hear this recording, you're going to realize that mimicking is no longer a mystery. Okay. You're going to realize that they can do anything they want. They can sing Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, whatever they want to do, they can do it. Once you hear that. And the key is at the end of it, when you hear that high click, you're thinking it's another subject, right? And I've even had someone hear it and backstage that they said, is that like a reptilian, like an alien? Then all of a sudden you hear this afterwards. It's him releasing. So that noise came from the same subject. So my point being to this is, I believe after hearing this recording that the trachea is flexible and controllable to them. And once you hear that recording, you'll understand why, because like I said, it goes in that high pitch click after coming out. You hear that real guttural Bigfoot, and he's getting revved up, and then it goes into this high pitched click, and then when it's done, it goes every time, and it's not once. That's why data, science is data, right? Collection of data. We don't necessarily need physical object. We can actually keep data, and that's what science is, data, and we have that in this recording numerous times, so we know that subject's making the sound. So I believe they can make any sound they want to make. 100%, but you'll all hear it soon. Trust me. Well, you guys can hear it backstage anytime. I just don't want all the jerks to get a hold of it.
Well, Richie and Rojo, you guys need to. I don't know what kind of time you have on work. You need to take some time off and come down here and join us in May.
Well, that would be an honor. Thank you for the invite. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for the invite.
This summer, I want to do a lot of that stuff. I think a lot of us guys and ladies out here that are open-minded and kind and research in a kind manner and respect one another, as we said, definitely get more results. graduate to different levels of this research. I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. Because I have been let in way further than I ever imagined, and I never thought I would be thinking what they are is what they are.
brother, you've only just begun.
I feel William. I do. You know what? I feel that. I really, really do, because I have such a and my friend Susan Ahern, who's a medium, she says it. You can connect to them, but you're so caught up in the physical that's there. There's a print, there's a structure, that it's hard for you to hear the messages that they're sending you. And that, when I first heard that, it's so profound that my rational brain comes on and goes, "We're all crazy," you know what I mean? But it's like, but then I experienced it later on in that very investigation of where I got it back, and I went, "Oh my God, what was that?" She goes, "That's it." And this is like what William's talking about. So I'm kind of creeping up that ladder, trying to get to a different level.
All the way down.
Yeah, Nikki, you want to come back up to Virginia again?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. If you pay, you pay. I'll come. No, it's wonderful there. It's so beautiful. I've enjoyed every time I've gone up there, and I usually try to make it. The last event was for the Blue Ridge Festival, the winter in Wintergreen Park. Yeah. So, that's a 2-day event there, but I made it I think I stayed 4 days?
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I left Monday.
Yeah.
Just, to hang out and be up there. It's so beautiful. But I'd absolutely want to go camping with you sometime. You're just far away from me.
I know.
And what's hard is when you love the subject and you want to meet all the people you talk with, right? You want to meet everybody you have podcasts with and everything. So, that was my goal, was to just go out and meet people. So that's why I went to Mount St. Helens. I had a group of people out there. We called it the Sasquatch Shindig 2023. The next year, we went to Canada and we went to Sasquatch Provincial Park there in BC. And that was amazing. Got some great footage there. Nothing happened, but I got to visit some really great places. The Ruby Creek incident, where the Chapman family had their famous incident in 1941. We went walking along the tracks, the live train tracks, to the wild man sighting of what's his name? Oh gosh, now I can't think of his they called him the monkey boy. Jacko, the wild man. His sighting right there. So we got to see some really great things, go to some museums. I got to take a Hummer right up the side of the mountain all the way around the lake. So you get to do some amazing things with some great people, and, seeing Daniel a couple of times. But man, it hits your pocketbook when you have to do those things.
Yeah,
and
sure.
You got to save up for it. And I'm really trying to get to Bluff Creek in July. I've been invited up there to go see the P&G film site. So hopefully that's my next big goal right now, is to do that. But I want to drive, because I want my own equipment. And when you're flying, it's almost hard to take, everything with you.
You should hook up with a young man in California. He goes by Bigfoot Dwarf. And
I'll see him. Yeah, he's going to be there. He's going to be there.
Good. He's a good young man.
Yeah, Glenn is a great guy. We've done a lot of podcasts together, and I was supposed to go last year, but unfortunately I couldn't make it last year. So I'm hoping
Nikki,
this is the year.
You know what you need to do, right? You need to tell Javier to start working overtime.
Guess who's working overtime? This gal. Last couple of weeks I haven't even put a show out because I've been working so much. But
that's his job. He's supposed to be working the extra hours for you.
He is. That's why I made him take that big job in Italy.
Oh wow. Yeah, so he
Hey
has
Dave, if you want to know where
he
the
has-
batteries are, she took them because she's taking. Dave's like taking them for the trip up there.
Wojo,
Yes, sir.
Rachel Adventures. Rachel wants to hear your famous saying.
What the boom? Boom!
There you go, Rachel. There you go.
I got you, girl.
You know we do.
Yeah, you know what I think about when you do that? Here comes the boom. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, he dances to that when it happens. It's not pretty.
No, but you know what though? It gives me that energy of going out with Richie. We have so much fun. We have so much passion. Being out in these woods, and you come home, you're just like, oh my gosh, like you just like you want that release. So I'm like, yeah, boom, Yeah, I hang out the mirror and go boom all the time. No, that doesn't happen. But that's what happens after every investigation because since I've been out with Richie, I haven't had one bad investigation. Yeah. And going out to parts of New England where we do our speakership, going out to the Colorado Critter Fest out in Russell, Western Mass.
The Vogel brothers.
These guys are very knowledgeable, field guys, and have their experiences.
Speaking of the Vogel
one thing
brothers,
I will say, William,
they're coming down in May. They're coming to camp with us in May.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Is that we meet a lot of people as we go along. We hear people's stories and what have you. And so I met this couple out in Western Mass, and they have a farm, and they say we have Bigfoots in our backyard. I go, oh really? Because I was showing them the casts and our evidence and what have you at a table, and they were like, they take our apples and things like that. I go, oh really? And they go, yeah, and you can hear them talk. I go, really? I go, we have a recording of them, communicating. And so I played it for them. I go, well, this is what we found. You can hear like the high pitched noise in the back of the woods, and then you can hear boom, 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 ha, blah blah. Have you ever heard something? Yeah. And all of a sudden their eyes just like they stared at each other. I go, is there something wrong? Yeah, we hear that too. And then Richie whipped his head around because he was at the setting up at a podcast. Yeah. And I looked at him going, no way. She goes, I go, you're telling me this is exactly what you heard? They go, we hear that all the time.
And that was confirmed by a linguist saying obviously not the words, but saying that it came from a trachea with a set of lungs, and it was like a deaf person trying to speak. Is the terminology that he used? Yeah.
There is a way that they actually communicate that is above and beyond any human capability. That's why our voices can't get as deep and as guttural as they can. They do have a flexibility to their vocal cords and to their esophagus and airways and all that. Their lung can be 10 times larger than ours. Yeah. So they have that forcefulness that they can put forth. When I was doing my humblations, my vision quests, and the last one I did, when Daniel interviewed me the one time, I showed him what I was given. And the big male alpha of the family unit that was always around me was standing in the tree line next to the stream where I was doing my humblation, my vision quest. And he literally, when my elder came up to me to pull me out of the vision quest when my time was up with the 4 days, I literally stood up and I walked like 4 feet to the water's edge. And something told me to look down between my feet. And between my feet was this obsidian spearhead. And it was every bit of about 3 inches long. It was pretty big. And I turned to my right to look at the tree line next to the stream. And there he was standing there in the shadows. And he did the exact same thing you guys are talking about, that guttural, like he was letting me know that he was there with me. They definitely try to communicate with us, but they're not going to do that with everybody. Okay, that's what we need to realize. And a lot of people need to realize that when they go out trying to deal with having an encounter, especially if they've never had an encounter, that's why I always tell you guys, you got to do.
Diamonds are forever.
Well, there we are. We're back.
I don't know what happened. That was not supposed to happen. I'm so sorry, guys.
You got to stop playing with buttons, man.
Well, I thought it was me for a minute.
No,
I freaked out. I was like, what just happened? Did I go up in a spaceship or something? I'm like,
no, that's my fault. I was trying to change the background, but I'm sorry.
If anybody's getting anal probed tonight, it's going to be Daniel.
There you go. There you go.
Totally jealous.
Chairs here, Daniel. Musical chairs.
Well,
Hey, Richie, while we got you on here, let me ask you a question. I've been trying to. Is there a program that you know about to where I've got some strange audio too, but I can't pinpoint what it is? Is there a consumer program that you know about?
Audacity.
That I can download. Huh?
Audacity. That's what we use now.
No, I've got all that to be able to listen.
Oh,
I'm talking about to be able to put the audio through, and then the program will tell you what it thinks it might be, like these experts have.
Oh, the experts for the animals and different sounds,
stuff like that.
Like
you have to go to each
Go ahead.
thing.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was going to say they have a lot of different video libraries, but you have to kind of tell it what, if you're looking for bird sounds or if you're looking for mammal sounds, or you kind of have to know that. I don't know if you can just enter a.
Yeah.
I thought there was a program that you could just put your audio recording in.
There is a program for different, but it's recorded animal sounds. So, and unless you have a mimic of a barred owl, say, you know what I mean? You're not going to get anything like that. But it's all about decibels, man.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
I think to be more.
What I've seen on TV, you see these experts do that. That somebody will send them an audio recording, then they'll run it through the program, and then they can tell exactly what it matches up to that they have in their database.
Yeah, they have those things, but you're going to get a lesser version of it at this level. You know what I mean? So yeah. But I would punch that right into the App Store, unless you got an Android, because those things are trash. But if you put it in an Apple Store and you type it just the way you just said it, kind of without all the TV stuff, but get the best version of it in your head, they'll tell you if there's an app for that, and then try it.
I've already done that, but I couldn't. Most of them just basic apps. Where the ones I've got, I mean, I could scrub it. I could pick out a part of the audio and tell the program to scrub that.
Yeah.
To like take out wind noise.
Yeah. WavePad is the easiest one, I think, for a novice like myself.
I'm afraid to do that. I mean, I've done it on practice audios before, but what we could get, I think, it may take out too much.
Yeah.
Because we'll overlap.
If you have the right thing about what Dave is talking about, it's like a professional that deals with DNA.
Yeah.
When the scientists insert the DNA into their database, it runs through its cycles or whatever they do. Whatever. It's basically I know for a fact. We don't know what it's called or what it is, but same thing with audio. You can enter the audio into something where it's going to identify it, basically.
If it's known.
Right. Just like DNA, exactly.
You want a program or an application system that's going to be able to do almost like a forensic study on the language or the sound that you're processing. So what you want to do is you want to go to contact the University of Idaho, where Jeff Meldrum was a professor at, and what kind of programs he used, because he used a lot of those professional programs too.
They got the money
so that'd be one thing to consider. Then the University of California, Berkeley might have some programs available too, because those are two of the biggest institutions that I know of, university-wise, that do studies like that on languages.
You might have. Well, I have I guess I could check with JMU here. Maybe they may have something that does that study here. Can you listen to this for me and scrub it, do what you need, and tell me what you think these sounds might be?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Daniel,
Clean it up and
saying,
remove the
you know?
background noise and all that. Yeah.
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 What's that, Melissa?
I said you have connections now with JMU when you had that. You were the guest speaker up there.
Yeah, I have. I know a couple people I could reach out to. I mean, that's worth a try. It's definitely worth a try.
Yeah.
I want to
Another
start
one
somewhere.
too is contact my buddy Doug Highcheck. The man's got access to a lot of different things concerning the studies of the paranormal and the bizarre and cryptids and stuff. So, and I'm sure, I'm sure if you mention me, he'll hook you up, David.
Yeah, because I got a couple of audios. It sounds like it sounded like it was right up at the mic itself, the audio recorder, and it's like a guttural sound.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have thought about this. I'd sent a copy of it to Daniel. He could have played it on the thing, but I ain't got time to download all that now. It's on my PC over there, not on my laptop here. If you wasn't out looking for this stuff and you're out there new hearing, if you heard this, it'll put goosebumps down your back. But I can't identify what it could be. I mean, I could speculate, but you're not. What I'm thinking about doing is when I put out my auto recorders at nighttime, I'll send them out early evening, let them record overnight, go get them the next morning. I'm going to have to get a couple more trail cams. I got a couple of good ones here that I'm going to try to marry them up with the auto recorders, set up the auto recorder, and then about 50, 60 feet back from the auto recorder, set up a trail cam. That way, if anything comes in that area, hopefully I can get it on trail cam at the same time. But I got a couple of different audios.
Too smart for that.
Yeah.
The Olympic project. The Olympic project has Chris Spencer.
Sure. Huh? What's that, Nikki?
Chris Spencer from the Olympic Project also usually accepts, audio files and will run it through his stuff he's got. I hear he's super good at it.
And you said his name's Chris Spencer?
Yeah, with the Olympic Project.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been following them in a while. I don't know. Yeah. I'm familiar with them, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I always think of that dude with the audio we have because he's like, audio's so difficult. It's so tricky.
Yeah.
You can evaporate it like that if you're not careful. You know what I mean? Like I've been like, where'd it go? Like my sound it's at 10 different locations, 3 SD cards. I even played a portion of it on my show so I can encrypt it into the YouTube. And then I took the show down and put it in a Google Drive. That show doesn't even exist, but it's encrypted, time and everything else, and 66 witnesses, just a minute of it. Because I was so nervous of where it was going to go and what people were going to do to it. But that dude, how the hell does he do all that? Like, he has stuff everywhere out there. They're in boxes. They're over here. They have names. I'm like, that dude, 24/7. That must be all he does. Like, it's audio's tricky.
I got in my mind.
Well, I've heard that too. I've heard that too from several people that they say that trail cams don't work, but it's worth a shot. I mean, I got the ones that don't put out a glow.
No, it is, and I have something. I have something I believe I actually shared on my direct YouTube live I did earlier today. What I believe is one of them reaching around and triggering it, and on the pullback, it looks like it caught like hair. And if you look at it, it's illuminated white like this, and you look at the edges, you can see the wall. Like if you pull your hair out and look at it on a microscope, you'll have the wall on your follicle. It was the same thing, no medulla, just clear white. And I never said anything about it. I've always had that for years, but it's not something I just present to the public. But tonight I was like, screw it. It's part of my story and part of what made me curious. There's a piece of the puzzle that got me to where I am today. So I shared it tonight. That's the only thing I've really ever got. We've gotten a couple weird things on the trail cams in the woods, and it was wild because there was these 2 white dots. They were same distance apart, and they were wide apart, and it just kept doing this. And it wasn't orbs, nothing like that. It was solid matter. And all I kept thinking was, is that dude cloaking and doesn't realize what the eye is doing to his eyes right now? It was that wild. You could see that it goes like this. It had the same movements of what people talk about with Sasquatch. And I shared it on the show, and all my audience has seen that. And it's a wild piece of evidence from a trail cam. So there is possibility to have them. I don't think they're ever going to walk up and say, yo, what's up, dude? You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. But there are things that can get these little pieces to your puzzle and just put it together. Why not? It's always worth a shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I talk to them a lot, so I kind of let them know where everything is. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they know where the microphone is, by the way. They 100% know. Again, YouTube Live. They ripped out my battery. They ripped out the recorder. They threw it down on the ground. It was laying there in the ice. And you can hear them doing it on the thing, you know, like on the recorder. I have a recording of that as well. And all of a sudden, it's like they're right up on it. You know, you're like, how did he figure that out? It's all frequency.
And they pulled the recorder out of the tree, Rich, remember?
Yeah, well, you know what it is. Yeah, they did. You're right. They pulled it right out of a tree hole, like 4 or 5 feet off the ground, reached right up there and said, yeah, sucker, I know where you're at.
Buried.
William, well, is that? Go ahead, Daniel. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. I was just going to throw in there that they know who the equipment belongs to. They said, when they're tearing it up, they said, banter with this bitch.
Yeah. And you can hear and you can hear him sniffing it. He sniffs it. You can hear him like, he sniffs it. They sniffed everything, like everything. You hear the sniffing. And you're right. But that's a good point that you bring up. And our scents are known. You know, they know it. You know, they have that high frequency. Like they know when it's Wojo and I compared to someone else. And when I go in there with someone else, I started just saying, hey, this is a friend of mine. You know what I mean? He's safe. He's good. You know what I mean? He's respectful and, you know, all that stuff. So, and I believe my son is involved because my son in heaven is what I mean. Jack comes as a hawk. And I filmed a hawk out in front of my house. It's the only time I've owned a house since 21. And after he passed, you know, or about a year and a half after he passed or whatever, there was a hawk out front and I'm on a dead end street and he just landed on the phone, on the electrical lines. And I'm standing out there recording him from here to there. He's like right there. I can see everything about him. I'm zooming in on him. I'm talking to him, the whole 9 yards. It's like 2-minute film. So I ended up talking with a friend of mine, Kerry Lynn Shellhorn. It was pretty renowned. She's from Canada. Oh, great. Dave leaves and Melissa starts throwing shit. Great. Good job, Melissa.
Our German Shepherd walked around and she started knocking something off the table with her tail.
Blame it on the dog. Now you sound like Wojo.
Blame it on the dog.
Yeah. Oh, that was the dog. Oh, yeah, okay. Dog.
Oh, my God. You know
how many times a dog has farted on my podcast? I'm like, yeah, okay. Whatever, bro. Full of shit.
Yeah.
But,
where's Luna? Tell Luna to show herself. We need to see Luna now.
Yeah. So Kerry Lynn had told me 2 days afterwards, I was sitting there with my fiance, you know, Jack's mom, and she's doing a reading for us, you know, as a gift. And she's like, oh, he comes to you in a hawk. And I just went, poof. I just fell apart. She's like, what? I said, I have a whole video just the other day of him. So anyways, my point is, I feel that they know him as well, because a lot of times we'll go into our research zone and there's a hawk flying, right, Wojo? Flying right next to us, I swear to you, and he goes up into the trees. So I guess my point is, it's way more divine than people give it credit for. You know, there's a lot of different things, and it sounds like I'm wearing a tinfoil hat, but I'm not. I've lived these things. I've experienced them, and you can see them on YouTube.
You're not wearing a tinfoil hat. You're not wearing a tinfoil hat. The hawk is a definite messenger. Okay. The hawk and the eagle are definite messengers to my people. And also the owl is the messenger of a bad omen to my people. So, you know, I can't tell you that the dozens of times I've heard and seen an owl, and then somebody I actually know would pass away. So yeah, you can learn a lot from the interacting with the wildlife. And I tell Daniel and Davis that all the time. And they know. Daniel knows firsthand when he sees something, you know, when you see birds nesting in a water source, that's a biggie. Okay. So if you ever look for water out there in the wilderness and you're by yourself and you're thirsty, you know to look for how the wildlife reacts to the area. Okay. So yeah, when you're dealing with messages from the spirit world. Okay, whatever you're, the spirit realm, or as I call it, the shadow realm, is a legitimate connection. Okay, it's what a lot of people call in the paranormal field the veil. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And you hear a lot of people in the paranormal field talk about how the veil's been thinning and thinning and thinning.
That's
and then you've got other places around the world that are messing with things they shouldn't be messing with. So it's going to kick that paranormal stuff up, a couple notches too, taking it from like an 8 on a scale to an 11. So, and there's a connection. The supernatural has always been a part of this world, and it always will be a part of this world. Okay. So for people to not think that this type of stuff can interact with you, they need to open up their eyes a little more, because my people have been dealing with this stuff for thousands and thousands of years. Okay. And it's real. Okay. And if all you have to do is let it flow. Okay. If you're willing to accept being taught by nature and by the wildlife around you, and learn from them and interact with them on a regular basis, you're going to learn a lot, and your eyes are going to be opened up to seeing a lot and experiencing a lot. So I know you're not wearing a tinfoil hat, my friend Richie. You are right on the money when you talk about the hawk. Okay, that is definitely your son reacting to you, letting you know that he's keeping an eye on you, because you're going to get yourself in trouble probably sometimes.
What is that idea? Thank you for that, William. That means a lot to me, brother. Really, truly does. Yeah. It's been a wild journey. You know what I mean? And it's still going on, and you feel chosen at times, and like you say, like Wojo and I have been working so well together that I think it's opened us both up. And that
anybody that thinks I don't know what I'm talking about can talk to me around my ceremonial fire anytime.
Love to. Not that I don't think you know what you're talking about, but I'd love to sit around your ceremonial fire. I only have one. Well, I got a few actually, but this one's really cool. This is the red teal, and these are gifts that Jack leaves me and lets me know that he's with me and stuff. And it's
exactly.
And
that goes back. That kind of an interaction with feathers, believe it or not, goes back all the way into biblical times too.
Yeah.
When the angels actually presented themselves to people, they would leave feathers behind. So that even correlates to the supernatural. So you're right there, brother. You're right there.
Oh, I'm feeling it, man. It's funny because a friend Denny over here, Denny O'Donnell. What's up, bro? Denny lost his daughter to pediatric cancer, and it's something we talk. Elazami, we talk about her all the time, and we just want to make people aware of it. And we don't want it to go unseen. You know what I mean? And Ella's always with us as well. She comes in a ladybug, and it's wild because I didn't know Denny, and the story of Denny is amazing. He was a complete stranger, but in his life, in his story, he was seeking out another complete stranger in the guidance of his daughter. And he came to me. It took him a while to find me, but he found me. And he told me the story. He goes, my daughter, because he's been to tons of mediums as well, crosses children over. And I'm gonna put this into Bigfoot in a minute. It crosses children over, and I believe my daughter crossed your child over. This is a guy that we met that was seeking us out. And it's a long story. You got to watch Denny's Divine Army on my podcast. But he came to me. You can imagine we got trust really fast. And he was actually in our research. We went out and did some research, and we came back, and that's when he said, "I got to talk to you." I said, "What's up?" And then he told me the story of how his daughter kind of guided him to me, and that he feels his daughter crossed my son over, and it was so crazy because I'm sitting there going, "Wait." I go back to the beginning. I'm like, I just had Bigfoot in my backyard. What is going on? You know what I mean? Like, what is happening? So my point to this is, like you just said, if nobody believes that this is something that's more divine on a different level, that comes in levels, you really got to walk it and really got to earn it. And that's what's happening. because you open yourself up, because you're kind, because you research in a kind manner, you do build trust. And there is a divine intervention out there as it's happening in the woods. And Denny and I, parents who lost their children, understand that, because you go on a different level when you go through such a journey. You know what I mean? And to have Denny come into my life, it's unbelievable. It's like Ella and Jack are flying. I'm like, hey Ella, hey, it's amazing, and everybody witnesses it. They see it on YouTube, so it helps. That's the one thing about YouTube I really enjoy. So
that's the connection
too, Rich.
Yeah, that's the connection, guys. And a lot of people don't want to comprehend that, but there is a supernatural connection. And just like when I used to drive, whenever I used to see like a crow would cross my path driving down the highway, to my people, the medicine of the crow represents law. And the way I interpret that whenever I'm driving down a highway is there's going to be a cop with a radar gun just about 2 miles down the road. And every time that crow crossed my path, there was a cop down the road 2 miles with a radar gun. So, I mean, there's certain ways that you can read sign. And they give us signs all the time, man. They do. They communicate on a level that most people can't even comprehend.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a lot of crows over in Minneapolis. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I totally
don't do it, Daniel.
Sorry,
William. I totally and fully believe what you're saying as of the divine intervention, what brings people together, and so on and so forth, like Denny and Richie. But if one day, we were talking in my truck about Baby Jack. As a matter of fact, Baby Jack, we even gave this guy the name Jack's son. So I call him. I go, why don't we call him Jackson? But back to like being in the truck was when Richie said, yeah, my son passed on 4/20. I kind of looked at him. I go, that's strange because my mother passed away on 4/20.
And we didn't even know that.
And we didn't even know it.
We just learned it at that moment, many years after knowing each other.
Wow.
And Ella. And there's a few others out in the chats that the same
you want to hear something very, very weird, and I'm probably going to blow your all's minds, but in 2019 when I was diagnosed with my first cancer, it was on April 20th.
Wow. Yeah, see there's something behind all that. Yeah, and here we are. There's something behind all that. And you think that we're getting off the topic of Sasquatch, but we're not.
No. It's all connected. It's all literally connected.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. It's crazy. And like I said, I started out completely flesh and blood. I bought into, even some of the ape theories and things like that. And as the research has grown and the mind has opened, and I think a lot of that has to do with losing my son because it became such a spiritual part of my life. It opened up parts of me that I didn't know, strength I didn't know, tears I never felt. You know what I mean? All that type of struggle. And then being curled up in my bed and I could hear him, Dad, you got to get up. Dad, you got to get up. And I said, what the hell's that? I could literally hear him, a voice I really had never heard. And I said, why? You know what I mean? And he says, you got to get up. You can't stay like this. And the best way to do it was to follow my passion. Tell everybody your story, he kept saying. Tell everybody your story. And I'm like, I'm an open book. What are they talking about? And the only story I had never told anyone was about Bigfoot in my backyard. Mm-hmm. And I went, and he knows how much I loved it. And I had these goosebumps like I do now. And that was it. I stood up and I said, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to tell everybody because people need to learn things about the real world, man. And exactly. Sasquatch has been teaching me this. Really. Exactly. He doesn't come up and go, here's a book. I wrote a book, Rich. Oh, thanks, Sasquatch. That ain't what it is, man. You gotta get your boots on first of all before you open your mouth. That's one thing that drives me nuts. Get your boots on, put in some miles, and earn it. You just have to. That's just the way it is. Period. End of discussion. And I feel like I found that out.
You know, with any great ape, any flesh and blood great ape, the silverbacks in particular, the mountain gorillas, the one way they, you don't, and this is something that Native people have always done too. My father taught me, and his father taught him. And it's, we're always taught that when we have our first encounter with Big Brother, with the forest people, that we don't look them dead in the eyes. Okay, you give them the respect. You lower your head, like you're saying, you're there in a good way. And when you do that with a great ape, flesh and blood ape, you put your hand out, you're showing them that you're showing them respect. And that respect goes a long way. And you got to think of it as the same way when you're dealing with these type of cryptids. Okay. You have to show them the respect. If you don't show them the respect, they're not going to show you anything. Okay. And a lot of people can't comprehend that. But trust me, indigenous in North America have been dealing with this for thousands and thousands of years. And, we don't have these legends and we warned when he came here about these legends, and they never listened to us. And then they started moving out into the mountains in the Appalachians and out in the mountains of Colorado and the Rockies and into the Northeast area. And they started experiencing these things. And then they came back and they're like, it's just nothing, let's just ignore it. You have to show respect. Plain and simple.
Yep. Yeah. And that goes for each other too. If you're listening, if you're a researcher, don't be shitting on other researchers. If they say you saw a Bigfoot with 10 legs, hear them out. Have a discussion. Maybe it was a mistake. But just don't attack each other. When you bring that negative energy, you're going to get that negative energy, and that's the same in all aspects of life. You're learning life. Is what you're learning here.
Yeah. And I would say too, William, is that the woods have taught us a lot. Okay, and the more we're out there, the more we're understanding. We do have a gifting chair. We do try. We leave them gifts and we bless it with
peanut butter. You got a problem with that? They love peanut butter. If you just ate venison every day, wouldn't you want some freaking peanut butter once in a while? So settle down.
Peanut butter and zingers.
You give them food? Well, shut up. My clan likes peanut butter and zingers. Deal with it.
But it's not baiting though. That's the thing. It's
Stop
not
saying
baiting.
that. Nobody thinks you're baiting a fucking Bigfoot. What is wrong with you? What is wrong?
No.
People. I'm like, stop saying baiting. Nobody's here. Bigfoot.
No, that's what people have said in the past. It's like, no, that's not true. It's like, hey, they love peanut butter. It's Skippy, by the way.
Shut up then. Just say shut up.
Exactly.
Nobody's baiting a Bigfoot. You meathead. Jesus.
Well, they're also looking at the fact it's also it could be considered another form of communication.
It is because I can tell you right now they use a stick to eat sometimes. Who can tell you that? I can also tell you that we put Vagabomb on it. We got prints in it here, and then let me pick one. It came back like this, like it came out of a dishwasher. They adapted to what we did to them. What the fuck just happened? Oh, did I swear again? Where am I? What? Oh, this? I didn't know you did it on purpose that time. You got to
made it bigger, yeah.
That's right, Jim. Back to you, Bob.
So here's the stick in the beginning, pre-Vagabomb. It's still got some licky licks on it, okay? And then you come over here after Vagabomb. They didn't like it. They adapted to what we did. They didn't even throw us out. They love us, actually. But look it. It's crystal clear. Crystal clear. I got 50 of these. 50 of them. And you can smell the breath in them.
It's crystal. Showed your respect.
Yeah, well, they said, oh, you want to play that? It was funny because when we came back and it ended up like this, I started laughing at Wojo because it was a good idea for the back. I said, dude, they just absolutely just nailed you to a wall. He's like, what do you mean? They go, dude, they got Vagabond. They go, oh, yeah? Well, what if we clean it? Then you won't have nothing. But that's why it's called research. It's called research, and if you do it respectfully, they're not going to be mad at you. You know what I mean? They're not going to be mad at you. Everybody likes a different flavor. I mean, everybody settled down. The zingers are brilliant. The zingers, these rappers here, and all these rappers are torn open with thumbs. You can tell that. There's no claw marks, there's no chewing marks, nothing like that. It's torn open. And we have them on recording opening a zinger wrapper, and you can hear him eating it. And we even heard the dude fart. Like 100%, just fart.
Yep.
Not to be rude,
Just
don't
fart.
come. My mother would slap me. I'm Italian, but no, seriously, that's what we have. And not only that, we actually have a zinger wrapper, which I'll put on the on my green screen. I have a 7-foot by 8-foot green wall in my studio. My son was like, "Dad, just paint the whole wall green. You can make it your green screen." I was like, "Brilliant!" So I had my Jackson logo up there forever, but then I started doing research on it, and now it's like I'm a weatherman. I can walk out in front of it and point things out to you guys, and it's bigger than me. It's huge, and you put it up there, and you see the fingerprints, and the fingerprints came from the white of the ingredients area and bled over into the blue of the advertisement. And the key to the fingerprints is, right, Wojo? They all go straight.
Yep.
They're not swirly like us. They go straight. And we have that on a zinger wrapper. So don't be afraid to try different things. Just don't be an asshole while you do it. That's
Exactly.
the bottom line. That's the bottom line,
Exactly.
man. This is a gesture of friendship. We're definitely
Yes,
not
Johnny,
baiting. We're not
they
baiting
do.
the Bigfoot. Stop saying that.
Well, hey, Richard,
Damn
this question
hunters.
for you. Gianni wants to know.
Are you still here? Daniel's still here? Daniel?
Yeah.
He made his way all the way around. He's back in the beginning.
Yeah.
Here's
Playing
a question
around,
for
man.
you. Do they remove the labels off the peanut butter jars?
Oh, most of the time, you're right. Yeah, that's a great question. So what happens is, for the most part, yes. But when they don't, we feel there's a good reason why. Whether somebody was coming around or somebody, oh, it's me again. You got to stop doing that.
I like to put you on the spot.
I don't get put on the spot many times, bro. That's pretty good. But no, so you got your wrapper here, so we find a lot of them with the wrappers off. And then like this, pretty clean. But every once in a while, you will find them with the wrappers on. Now, we don't know if there's an association with the color of the wrapper or whatever it might be, but sometimes it could be somebody's coming, you know what I mean? And they're just grabbing it quick. Matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, we found one buried in the compost where they were enjoying it, right? With big prints around and everything. So we think maybe somebody was coming. It is hunting season. And he actually pushed it down into the compost, which was something that was a different behavior. So that's the other thing that we're learning here. We're learning behaviors, right? And that's the key to it. You got learn. It's like being Jane Goodall without sitting with the mountain gorillas, right? Because we're not baiting them. I don't know. I want to hang out with them. I just don't want to get. It is a little fearful. You do have some fear in this as a human. The human comes out. But yeah, so the peanut butter is a good thing. But that's a great question, Daniel. Yes, sometimes I'm going to say 80% of the time the wrappers are off. 80% of the time, and we almost put it towards. I don't know how William will feel about this, or Melissa. She's very loud tonight. Maybe she can help us.
I'll let her help. I gotta take Luna outside right quick.
David, do you mind if I have your wife as a guest on my show so she could just stare at my audience for me?
I won't even charge.
I do have a question though. I wanted to throw out to you all.
Yes.
Have you all ever put any kind of recordings or anything up, recorders or video up at your campsite? Because of the fact that, the reason why I'm asking that is because the last couple times we've been out camping, stuff has been happening at our campsite, but we don't have anything recording any of it.
Yes, I feel recorders are more subtle. Less intrusive. Don't get me wrong. Again, I feel guilty at times for doing it. But they're gonna know frequency because the way I have hidden the recorder and the way it's been found, there's no way a person would have found that. There's just no way. You know what I mean? So you're probably going to come back to your recorder being on the ground or your battery pack being ripped out, stuff like that. They'll find it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think the recorder is more beneficial. And I'll tell you why. For me, what I believe, I don't know what everybody else thinks. Any animal or human or being that can see at night is going to see, first of all, an IR light. Second of all, I believe they feel the frequencies, and you're going to get less on that. You know what I mean? It's not going to trigger because there's a whoop, 500 yards away, right? But your recorder is going to pick that up, and you're going to learn behavioral type attitude. When we got our recording, like I said, it was like they were hanging out in their living room. They were divvying up the goods. They were talking back and forth. You could hear one in the background go, that was dad. Over here was mom. She was squawking with the juvenile. Juvenile got pissed off because he found my battery pack. Guy got me again, ma. And she's like, ah, and you heard him going back and forth. And, so you're going to get, what I'm saying is you're going to learn more about their behaviors. And I learned their language on that recording because, like I said, they weren't whooping or howling. They were talking amongst each other, without
that's
knowing
good
that we were there.
That's good you described it that way too, Richard. Yeah, because I've always been one to tell people that when they travel in a family unit, the first ones you're going to experience are the elders, are the ones that have experienced everything already in their long life. Okay. Then you're going to find that you're going to experience the children and the young adults or that. And then you're going to see the alpha. The alpha is always going to be in the back. Okay. Watching everybody to make sure everybody's safe, just like a wolf pack. Okay. Just like a wolf pack will do. Okay. And the reason I can even confirm that because a lot of the encounters you hear with hunters in the woods when they get charged, the one that's in the front never charges physically at them too closely. Okay. That's the elder. That's the older one of the family unit that is telling the hunter if he doesn't leave, he's going to have a problem. You always hear the ones hooting and hollering and screaming and yahooing all the way in the background, running towards the hunter from way back in the deep woods. Okay. Because that's the alpha. Okay. That's the alpha coming in to protect his family unit. Okay. Just like a wolf pack would do.
Yep.
Literally.
It's Wojo, listening to him, I feel so right on.
I'm just like, wow.
We're on the right track, dude, because Salonon is dad. And we know that he confirmed that with a rock splash in the river. It was wild. We use an Ovulus, a voice box too, for messaging. And we get a lot of messaging through the voice box pertaining to biblical and native indigenous people. So we have a lot of that stuff that we have collected data as well. So I would recommend an Ovulus for something you could communicate with. And when we had a word come up, it was Salaron. We were by a river, and if you looked it up, it explains a dam. So you're like, oh, okay. But then you went and looked up, I think it was my producer, Sam, originally did it, and then I did it the next day. We changed one letter, N, Salinon. And William, you're probably familiar with the Salinon people and the Salish. And they were up and down the West Coast, like Nikki had said earlier, Canada, Washington, up and down. And they basically have their own language that was adopted by a lot of the indigenous peoples. So when he said that, it was like, I said, is your name so-and-so? And then this huge rock goes into the river. Within 2 seconds on YouTube, you can hear me ask the question, then you hear the rock hit, and I go, okay, that's you. Because I was asking him if he remembered, being in my yard and snapping a tree, like I was trying to trigger his memory. And I just went for it. I was just in a different zone, and I just went for it. I didn't care how I sounded, how I felt, nothing. I was just like, I'm here. This is my story, and I'm asking. And we feel that we got that response. It was amazing. And everybody on YouTube saw it, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Can I ask Nikki a question?
Yeah.
Nikki, you had mentioned earlier, physical and flesh and blood. How do you feel about hearing all this? Like, where?
Well, I'm open. I'm more on the lines of, I think everybody's on their own journey.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own path, and they need to be true to themselves and what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So just because I believe that in my mind, I have to have a scientific background where there's a lineage a historical type of lineage where I can trace back to where they possibly came from. Okay.
Right.
So I'm not big on all the cryptids. I love the topics. I love to, listen to them, watch documentaries on them. But as far as, say, if you want to take it to a belief, I know that if Bigfoot exists, that I feel it has to have a place in our lineage, in our history. So 2 million years ago, I feel something took a turn when we broke off of the apes and the monkeys, that possibly so did Bigfoot, and it took its own way, and we haven't found any of that fossil record yet, because we've only got a very tiny portion of the fossil record right now.
Right.
And at any time that could be found. But
we have a
like,
very tiny part, Nikki. We have a very tiny part of the fossil record because the Smithsonian hides it all.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely part of that.
Yep.
So, and there's many different things people believe. Some believe in the relic hominid theory, some believe in the great ape theory, and then you have the Gigantopithecus theory, you have the alien theory, the whole spiritual woo interdimensional thing. There's a lot of people doing some, or all of it. Some believe a little bit of all of it is happening because they've had their own experiences. I can't take somebody's experience away from them. What they've experienced is all on them.
Yeah.
And I can only go from what I've had.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where I'm at. I don't get out as much as I didn't get out this whole last season because I took a job and now I'm working a lot. But
overtime, Nikki.
It happens, and you just kind of think, well, someday I'm gonna hang it up and really retire, and then I can make this my fun thing. The minute becomes not fun anymore, it's gonna stop.
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah,
Because
right.
the one thing is going out there, having fun with my friends, doing that fellowship. That's really important to me in that part. Being in places where there has been sightings is exciting to me. Sightings are exciting.
Right.
And no, that's what I like. That's the thrill, that's the chase, the unexpectedness, that you could possibly come upon. But that's kind of, where I come. I don't, if you believe in portals and all of that, that's all
Yeah.
that's fine.
I think that's well said. Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, when you're done, I want to go ahead and weigh in on a little bit on that too. But
good.
Bye.
You did a great job weighing in on that, Daniel.
Perfect. Melissa, he's gone. Same question. Quick, Melissa. Same question. Go.
Well, I do have a question. I wanted to tell you first. At our last camp out, I had an experience where I can't explain it, but I think William earlier when he was talking about bluff charging, I think that might be what it was.
Yep,
I was sitting by the campfire with John and Mary that was camping with us. I was in my chair. I had my back to the wood line. And we were just sitting there, listening, waiting for radio traffic because Daniel and David and them were all out on their nighttime hike. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I hear loud panting, and it sounds like a canine type of animal trotting towards the back of me. And there's a lot of coyotes in that area. And I honestly, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like a coyote type of animal trotting up behind me and panting very loudly. And I reacted as jumping out of my chair and moving off to the left and turning around because I thought I was about to be attacked from behind. There was nothing there.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing there. But Mary, she heard the heavy breathing and panting also, but she didn't hear the trotting and stuff. But I can't explain it. But what William was talking about, it almost sounds like it was something like that. They were bluff charging me, seeing how I would react. But I can't explain it.
All I can say is, Melissa, you guys are going to experiencing so much more, and not just you and David and Daniel, but Nikki's going to have her own encounter. Richie and Wojo, you guys are going to be really lit up. There's going to be things happening that you're just, there's going to be no way you can fathom it. There's going to be no way that you could even comprehend these things happen, that these things have certain innate abilities, because they are connected so much to the environment. Okay. And a lot of people, they can scoff at it all they want, but my people and other indigenous cultures around the world have tried to explain this concept to non-indigenous people, that they are so connected to everything spiritually and adapted to being able to do things that humanity just can't comprehend and do. Okay. And I'm a firm believer that they do have their own medicine people in their family units, just like my people do. And I'm a firm believer in that, from my own interactions growing up with them. And there was 2 family units that I grew up with. Okay. And I interacted with the one more than the other. But, they have such a way of doing things that may not make sense at first to you, but the more you see the environment and how the environment responds to them, and not to you, you start to understand how they can comprehend things and make things happen.
Yeah, it's wild. Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
I understand what
most
you're saying.
medicines that we have they do come from the forest. That helps us, and why can it not help them?
Right, and Elder has helped. I don't know if you know Elder Medicine Bear Claw. She's someone that we've always turned to as well, to make sure we're paying the proper respects to the indigenous peoples as well. And we go back to her with questions.
Yeah, she's my buddy. I love her.
Yeah, she's amazing, and she had a procedure done. So we're going to say many prayers for her, many blessings to her. We love you, Elder. She's part of the Banter family, and always will be, and she's very important to us. So, but yeah, she has told us a lot and confirmed a lot of stuff, and stuff that we've gone back to. She's explained certain things to us that we were a little bit off by, but curious about, and always even when we go there, we give tobacco to the earth. We put tobacco around the gifting chair. We burn our sage. We have a lot of different conversations with the forest, and it's a totally unique experience to a lot of people, because a lot of we're the minority, right, William? In a sense, when you're practicing that way, we are the minority. But if I'm going to tell you, if you are out there doing this, it's not a witch hunt. It's not it's not a ghost. Nothing like that. You're not going to deal with demons. Nothing like that. If you do it respectful, you're going to piss them off. That's like you would piss me off if you were disrespectful. Same exact thing. But find the right ways to honor them and honor Mother Earth and give back to Mother Earth. And that's what we do, Wojo and I. And it has opened up so many more things, like you're saying. And when you say we're going to experience things we can't fathom, you're right, because I'm standing there looking at it and I can't fathom. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there going, what the?
I mean, you're talking to someone whose whole life grew up taking offerings into the woods and into the forested areas, interacting with things that most people couldn't even comprehend that even exist. I mean, we would take pieces of buckskin, small pieces of buckskin, maybe a foot square, and we'd lay them out there for the little people, we would offer things like tobacco and sage and cedar and juniper and all the herbs and stuff. We would leave these offerings and let them know in advance that if we were going to go and hunt in their area, that we will do it in a respectful way. And we gifted these things to them and we would tell them literally, verbally, that we plan on hunting there and we don't want to offend them. So would you please accept these kind gifts, out of friendship, and when you talk about giants and Bigfoot and everything, you have to take in perspective the Cherokee legend of Judaculla. Okay. And Judaculla was the same way. He was a giant. Okay. And he was said that he could jump from ridge line to ridge line. Okay. And not land until he wanted to. That's how big he was. One day the small Cherokee hunting party decided to go hunt on his land where they knew he lived, because they wanted to feed the nation of the people, the Oyate, the nation. And Judaculla caught them and he got offended. And that's why you have that legend of him and Judaculla Rock, okay, where he chased them out. You see, we have these legends of interacting with these giants and these cryptids and stuff, and these little people for reasons, because everything in environment that we interact with is alive. And I'm not just talking through biological means. I'm talking through frequency, through vibration, through energy. Okay. And when you show those energies the type of respect that they deserve, because they've been here a lot longer than you have, then you're showing them a way that you're going to do it honorably and mess with you. That's why you have so many hunters having bad encounters, so many fishermen having bad encounters too, because they don't go in and show the offering or respect, or even announce themselves what their intentions are, and the indigenous people have been announcing their intentions with these people by offering tobacco on water, at the base of trees. The worst thing you can do, as far as I'm concerned, is go out there in the middle of the forest and do a wood knock on a tree. And I know that's going to offend a lot of people, but you have to understand these elemental spirits, when you're dealing with pine trees, especially, and the pinyon pine especially, you're dealing with elementals attached to those trees. The Druids knew that. The Druids over in Europe knew that, and they would smack the trees in the old days when the Druids were around, and to call forth the elemental spirit from the tree and ask them to help them out in some way. These things do exist, but it's so difficult to get people to understand that there are powers that they have to deal with when they go out and do things with the environment and with Bigfoot and all the other things that are out there, and they have to do it respectfully.
Yeah, I mean, William, one thing we've learned, like in our area, where it's more forestry and what have you, we do encounter a lot of the tree structures and things like that, and where they manipulate the trees, but also that we also understand that Native Americans for centuries have made tree structures too, to show where the hunters are. I tell the hunters, where your homes are, where the water is, so on and so forth. But it's all spiritual. And I just had a show this past Tuesday with Richie about the spirituality of the tree structures, the feathers, and the letters that they make for the tree structures. And it's funny because in time of the gifting chair and trying to communicate, and I just kept saying, this is like all spiritual. In that they're telling us, the forest is telling us things that now we're starting to understand.
Yeah. And see, the hardest thing for non-Indigenous people to understand, Wojo and Richie and Daniel and Nikki and everybody, David and Melissa and everybody in the chat, the hardest thing for non-Indigenous people to understand is that just because a tree is laying on its side, they call it dead. Okay, the tree is not dead. The moss that grows upon it is alive. The ants and the bugs and the creepy crawlies that crawl within its, on its bark are alive. That the raccoon family or the skunk family that lives within its hollow shell is alive. That tree is more alive laying on its side in the forest than the tree when it was standing up. That's how we look at things.
And also too, William, that we found trees that, when they twist and they have them at 90-degree angles or whatever, that we find that the bark comes back and heals the tree.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do have a friend down in the University of Georgia, and what he does is comb the forest down the south of any invasive bugs from Asia and what have you. And we show him these structures and stuff like that. He goes, "Well, Joe, I don't know what's going on up in Massachusetts, but I've never seen anything like it." He goes, "What, you guys got a tornado or a downburst?" I go, "No." I go, "This is unnatural stuff, because if we had a tornado, it would create first of all, a big path.
Splinters.
Trees would be splintered, what have you."
Yep.
But what they're doing is, how they manipulate. It's like artistic traits that they do. It's just second to none beautiful. Yeah. And that's, and that's something that me and Rich talk about a lot. And that they, that they teach their young, and also the indigenous people teach their young. It's like sign language. And us Americans, we're understanding that. I mean, it's going to take centuries to understand what they're doing and why they're here, and because they've been here. This is their home.
Exactly.
We're just trying to be good neighbors to them.
Exactly.
And, actually, this coming spring, me and Richie are thinking of planting some trees and picking up some trash out there.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And we're not good neighbors. We're good guests.
Good guests.
Exactly.
Hey, Wojo, you collaborate with Alex Petikoff at all?
Yeah, Wojo.
No. No, we haven't.
I've had him on my show.
Yeah, we had him on Richie's show. We had him on the show, and I met him for the first time at a festival called the Charming Fair Farm up in New Hampshire.
Yep.
And we had these discussions, and we showed him pictures of tree structures and huts, and he basically shut Richie down on that, which I was kind of shocked, because if you see when people see Bigfoot and they take pictures and say, "Oh, I saw 5 pictures of 5 Bigfoots," does that make you an expert? No, it's just that you may caught a glimpse of them, you got lucky, but you don't understand who they are. You don't understand why they're here, and they have good intentions. All you have in your mind is you want to be famous and you want to write books. I mean, well, not like that, but you just want to be out in the world thinking you're going to get a big paycheck for what? They're people. They're people out in these woods.
Not in his defense, because I don't know how
I'm not
down
saying
or
him,
anything. But like I was kind of saying earlier, everybody's on their own path and their own beliefs kind of system, because I don't hold any merit to tree structures either. There's very, very few that I find are odd, and those are like, oh, that's interesting. But for the most part, everything I've come to, it seems, I can say it's weather related or people related. So now some of the big things like up in Canada that I saw, they seem pretty unusual and not possible for any type of human to do. They're interesting, a tree that was even not from that area. It looked completely different. That's unusual.
Yep.
But if anything's under 5 feet, I tend to not even, I don't even pay attention to them, because for me, they don't hold that weight. Doesn't mean it doesn't. Everything is valid in the way of evidence, right? Because someday something might happen where all that gets validated for me. But at this, that's kind of like everybody has their own thing,
But Nikki, to follow up on what you're saying is that we do have, at our old gifting chair, our old spot, we have found them putting small little sticks by the size of
and you have a picture of them putting sticks?
No.
Oh,
we have found.
We have pictures of little sticks.
But you're assuming a Bigfoot did it. You didn't see the Bigfoot do it.
No. That's the difference, and that's what the point is.
Yeah.
Now you guys are facing Nikki's critical thinking here.
No.
No.
Nikki's
No, I want to
valuable.
tell her that we have these things. That's why.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Nikki is valuable to and I say you, not particularly you, but that mind process, right? That thinking process is crucial to what we do every day, to have that discussion with somebody who's respectful like Nikki is, to say, hey, but did you see the Bigfoot do that? That's a valid question. No, I didn't see him. There's none of that shit.
Yeah. Well, it all depends, because there's a lot of critical thinkers who don't know how to talk to people.
Right. Well, you're right on with that. But that's my point.
And
you are my point to my journey. My journey is to have people like yourself,
Right.
your belief levels, your beliefs in general, to be part of this community, so we can have a discussion. You can't have a discussion with somebody that comes and goes, whatever the hell they say. I can't repeat it. It pisses me off so much.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's brilliant to have that. You have to have that in anything you do when you're researching. But question to you, Nikki, why Petikoff in particular?
Because I just knew he was from Mass. He was
He's from New Hampshire. Yeah,
Mass. That's all. I've had him on my podcast several times too, and I know what he's about a little bit, and
very scientific.
That was all.
No, good dude. He's very scientific. He's someone that I researched when I was starting research. I watched all his documentaries because he was boots on the ground. I reached out to him. I met him in person. I had him on my show. Yeah. And the thing that he said about structures, they're not scientific. Like, don't even go there, dude. You know what I mean? Like, but I wasn't giving up on it. I was not giving up on it. What I have I have a dream catcher in my backyard that'll blow your mind. I have a 40-foot X that's so symmetrical it'll blow your mind. It's just so many things that I have on my property that has happened to me in my life. And like you said, that's my journey. Therefore, my beliefs are formed in that way.
Because see, you have an area that you go to all the time, right?
All the time.
I have areas up in the mountains over here that I know where that big tree is down. I know where that other tree is, and this happens, and there's an arch, and there's these things. So when you go back and they've changed all of a sudden, their changes happen. So I don't know your area. So you have seen that. That's why it's so important to listen and to keep all that in the mix, right? Because we don't know what everybody's experiencing out there.
Nikki.
That was perfect.
Well, you got to have critical thinking aspect to the research. That's the only way you're going to give validity to what you're doing.
I agree.
You can't jump off the beaten path. I mean, with our backgrounds, we're critical thinkers when we go out there. We have to keep things in perspective. Now, where I cross over is I listen to people's stories. We have experienced the paranormal. Some we do have on video. And if more than one person experiences it, that's not a figment of your imagination. We've had things happen now last camp out. We don't have any answers for, but we all experienced it. Critical thinking has to be part of that aspect. When it comes to tree structures, I get her point. I get Nikki's point, but I also hear from other people that some of the smaller ones, and I can't validate this, but if you think about it, it could make sense that some people think that the smaller ones may be built by them to where if the mother is out hunting is where they'll put their young. That's what I've heard. I mean, I can't validate that, but when you take in people's stories, it helps that critical thinking aspect to dissect what you're looking at.
Absolutely. I totally believe in that. We don't know if they are mimicking their parents, if they're learning, if it's used as a nursery, some of the larger ones. There's a whole aspect of questions out there, that I wish we could answer.
That's why we're keeping an open mind with what we do.
They're out there.
Yeah, because with the knowledge that William has given us, learning from Daniel for the years that he's been doing research, watching podcast stuff on TV as well as TV shows, because I can go down the TV show route. I do like them. They are enjoyable. They're entertainment. But it gives you ideas. We know things are out there that's happening that you can't explain that we want to pursue. We haven't had a Bigfoot experience yet per se, other than heard maybe been hit by infrasound one night. But without that critical thinking, you're not going to validate a lot of what you're doing. And that's what, and you're going to have your naysayers. You're not going to convince them one way or the other because they don't want to be taken out of their norm. They don't want their life to change. They don't want to think about the possibility of something else being there because their life ain't going to be the same. One paranormal experience me and my brother and dad had one night back in the late 60s. He took that to his grave. Over the years, when I went to visit from being overseas, military and all that stuff, occasionally I would ask him, remember that night? Brian, too, you remember that night? Remember that? No. He absolutely would not want to go back and relive that night. He denied it. He took it to his grave. But we all three and our dog experienced something that we could not explain or put our fingers on.
Yeah.
It affected all of us, including our dog. But again, the critical aspect, I appreciate people's critical aspect. But like Richard B's saying is, if they're going to start getting nasty and want to put you down for it and whatnot, I mean, go live your life. We're going to live ours. I got no go to bruise. I got no,
That's the old thinking in the research field, right? If they didn't find it, it can't be real, right? That's one of the other things that I find in this. And I got
what's the one thing that, David, that I've always said, and Daniel, that I've always said when I talk to you guys, is you've got to discern the difference between the flesh and blood and the supernatural type of a cryptid, okay? Because you have to discern the difference, okay? Humanity was given the stewardship of the land and the wildlife upon it. We lost that back in the Garden of Eden, okay? And, whenever we deal with something that is not flesh and blood, okay, and you'll know the difference, okay? You'll see signs that'll tell you the difference, okay? And do these things have the capability of going, from spiritual to flesh and blood? I believe they could, I believe that they could. Otherwise, we wouldn't have legends of them walking out of the flames of a fire. Okay. We wouldn't have legends of them coming from granite boulders. Okay. We wouldn't have legends of them walking out of the water. Okay. Out of nowhere, just appearing, but we have to discern the difference when you're dealing with structures and you're dealing with all this other stuff. You have to take into account that there could be bushcrafters in the area that are very, very well versed at the land and how to live upon it. And then you've got to think too, you have feral people out there that a lot of people don't talk about. Okay. So you have people that are doing things also out there that you might not know even exist out there. Okay. So we need to discern flesh and blood and bone from the supernatural. Okay. And that's why I've always said the red eyes, whenever you have a violent encounter, odds are when you're dealing, with my people, especially when we talk about those type of beings coming upon us, that's a trickster spirit. Okay. That's what we call a shapeshifter spirit, an elemental from the land that is ticked off in some way, shape, or form and doesn't want you upon it. When I did ceremonies and the older ceremonies, the darker ceremonies when I was younger, we would call forth these elementals to protect our burial grounds. We would call forth these elementals to protect the mounds. Okay. We would protect, certain areas where we would do ceremony, things that we would deem appropriate and part of our Oyate, our nation. Okay. We would call forth these spirits to protect the land and the animals upon it. So you're going to have some people that are going to encounter these things. Okay. But these people are thinking, oh my God, it's a Bigfoot with red glowing eyes. I'm sorry, but you're not dealing with something that has red glowing eyes. And I'm not talking just like regular eye shine, guys. I'm talking
self-illuminating,
the illuminated, the old light type of a bright light. Okay. So, we need to discern the difference. When you're dealing with stick structures and everything, you have to be able to read the sign.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to understand how it's put together, what the intricate patterns are. You got to look for the patterns in the way and compare that to patterns that you find in other locations. Okay. There's certain things that we need to discern from this. And until we discern these things, we're just going to keep on having more questions. Okay. Yeah. So
you got to keep an open mind. That's the way we approach it. If you go out there with a preset mindset, you're not going to experience or find what you're looking for. You got to keep that open mind.
Exactly.
And your mind and your ideas are going to change as time moves. Ask Daniel.
Oh yeah, they changed the mind for you.
Bigfoot. Now we've had this stuff happen these last 2 weeks in the camping out this last year, and now his mind is shifting over to there's something else going on here we can't explain, but we're not jumping off.
Daniel, how dare you?
Yeah. Wait, David. You just brought up something very good. Daniel, is this really happening? Are you in the shift?
Well, there's a couple things I want to jump on here. You guys are carrying on a lot of stuff here, so I want to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to back up a little bit. You guys are covering a lot of stuff I want to touch the base on because everyone's blah, 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 blah. Hey.
Okay, go, Daniel. It's all you.
All right, here we go. Now, real quick, and this goes for anybody listening. If you're new into this field, we've been talking about the structures, the formations for a little bit here and there. I've been in this. I'm reaching around 16 years now since I've been involved, and just like anyone that's new in this field, I'm going to tell you what it was like for me. I was really heavily full of enthusiasm when I started learning, getting on social media, learning. Oh wow, all these other people involved with this too. I was blown away. Like I didn't realize there were so many people involved with Bigfoot. I started learning about the different forums and learning about the groups and and I've shared this on numerous podcasts over the years. And to see all these different theories that were being presented and all these thoughts that were being put out there, well, people believe this is what they do. And I wasn't the person. I wasn't jumping on board with any of this. I wanted to take notes. I was like the kid in the back of the classroom just taking notes, Until I started applying my own research in the field and I started observing, And to back up a little bit, for those who don't know me, I grew up in the outdoors. I was always in the woods playing, building forts, doing this and that with kids. Been out in the woods hunting with my father since at a young age. So being out in the world, in the woods, the forest, I was well acquainted with nature. I've seen a lot of wildlife since my youth, and up to this very point, I've seen a lot of wildlife. Well, with all that being said, when I got involved with the Bigfoot research, and learning about a lot of people, like, structures and formations was a big thing. I was seeing a lot of this stuff when I got online. And I was like, okay, I started paying attention more. When I got involved with research, I started looking for evidence. What could point towards the existence of being in this area, So over time, I didn't find things right away, but I started noticing. I did started finding tracks and stuff like that. But the structures, I really started paying attention to the structures. And like any newbie in the field, I was excited. Like, oh man, that could be Bigfoot, I wanted to give Bigfoot credit for a lot of the stuff that was being seen, the odd stuff that I couldn't explain. And then, I had to take a step back, because I was like, I didn't want to be that. I saw what was out there with other so-called researchers. Everything was Bigfoot to them. I said, it can't be Bigfoot, I grew up, in Massachusetts. I was a young kid in Massachusetts. I've been in winter storms. I've been down here. I've been in, hurricanes and stuff, even here in Virginia. I've been through a lot of heavy storms. I've been going back out in the field. I've seen what they've done to these areas I've been focusing in. I know how weather has a lot of key roles in what we find, weird things. But at the same time, I was always objective on stuff when it comes to structures. I was on the board of jumping on board where, that's got to be a Bigfoot structure. It's easy to fall into that realm. It's easy to fall into that. What's the best way to put it? As Les Stroud once said, don't fall prey to deception. Because there's a lot of deception out there, even to our own minds, things that we come across. I didn't want to say everything was Bigfoot related. I wanted to be honest with myself first before I started projecting it out to others. Because I want people to realize, there's a lot of other things that are responsible for what we find. Although Bigfoot's on our brain, a lot of us go out there with Bigfoot on the brain. That's got to be Bigfoot. That's got to be Bigfoot. There's so much so many other species of wildlife. There's so many other phenomena, regardless if we look at weather. I mean, there's a lot of these things that we can't rule out. But then again, I was one of those people that had Bigfoot on his mind when he first got involved with this. I was so excited. I was a big time enthusiast, before I got really deeply involved. I wanted to believe that I'm finding all this Bigfoot evidence. BS. No, it's not Bigfoot evidence, everything we find. So, for those who, that might be new, I mean, I'm saying this, I'm sharing this because I want people to realize if you're getting involved with this, Bigfoot's going to be on your brain, but you need to find a way to, like, kind of take a deep breath and step back. So, okay, there's a lot out here, that we underestimate weather. We underestimate a lot of natural phenomenon, occurrences. Because, we don't witness what's being done out there. I mean, like, for example, David and Melissa can tell you, we live here in the valley. What might happen here or what might not be happening here might be happening out there when it comes to weather. Because out there is a different ballgame in the mountains. It's, the way the winds and the storms and everything that happens, there's a lot of destruction that takes place out in those woods. Versus out here, yeah, it might be worse out here. It might, the conditions might be reversed because we're in an open area. We might be feeling the winds harder out here than we are. Then again, like I said, it kind of goes both ways. So I just wanted to jump on that and share that for the newbies out there. That's mainly who I'm speaking to because I think everyone here is on the same page. We understand what we're talking about. But I think it's important for the newbies to understand that you got to get Bigfoot off the brain. Not everything's Bigfoot related. There's so much more that's happening. There's more than meets the eye. I will tell you that because we don't witness.
Just go out there, enjoy the wilderness, and let it happen. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Be respectful and just let it happen.
Well,
yeah. Now, there's some things. There is some things out there I will say that make me question. Some of the. I still find structures and formations very fascinating. I do, regardless if it's something that weather made or even wildlife. People don't realize bears are very destructive on certain things. They play on trees. They've been, I've seen a lot of things that bears could do on trees. But till this day, I will say this real quick is I do find teepee structures. Teepee structures where trees are combined with 3 or 4, maybe more trees. Like David, when we've seen some up there way beyond the lake. We've seen them out there. I seen them up on the Blue Ridge Mountains, right into my backyard. My old girlfriend, I had her standing there as there's things out there that make you really question things. What the heck? How did that happen? Did did heavy winds really do this? Some of the things we come across really make you question things. So with that being said,
you got to look at physics.
Always that possibility.
How it's put together. Is it interwoven?
Which I've come across some of that, yes.
Yeah, your mind will learn to adapt. The more you see this, and you start to train your mind to
recognize
what you're looking at.
Yeah, you have to recognize the patterns.
Yeah, there's 2 phrases that you guys say. Daniel always says, know the known before seeking the unknown. Correct me if I'm wrong. And William always says, question everything.
Yep.
Yeah. You've got to do that.
Well, that's
research.
Yeah.
Put your ideas together, come up with your conclusions, document, and put it out there.
Yeah.
And keep that open mind because, like I said, our minds has gone from one place to the other, shifting because now we're having things happen that we cannot pinpoint what is causing it per se. So now we've got it's not just Bigfoot we're out there looking for now too. Yeah, he's the main reason we're out there, but
right.
As William gave us a tip last year, possibly what was that? A feather and a
red ribbon.
Ribbon.
Red ribbon,
yeah. Feather. Because what he was describing earlier, because we've not seen a ball of light like we did, me and Daniel, that one night. Mm-hmm. About 40 yards from us, about 3 or 4 foot off the ground. I've seen it for about 2 seconds. He's seen it for about 2 seconds, got its attention. And about 4 or 5 seconds max, just went out.
And
pure white.
See, the feather represents the messenger. Okay, that I said for you to use the feather. Okay, the same reason that Richie has interactions with the hawk. It's the same principle and same concept. And when you use the color red, red is a very sacred color to the indigenous people, especially because it represents the blood that our ancestors bled, over the thousands of years living here, that made the pipestone, the catlinite that we make our sacred pipes out of. Okay. That's the whole, everything is connected. Okay. So when you're dealing with something that could possibly be unexplained, you want to deal with it the same way that they would present themselves to you, which means you want to give it a message. And in doing that, you offer them a feather, and the color red is an offering to say opening up communications.
Yeah, and we did that because our minds were open while we're out there. Because we had an experience we could not explain. We told William about it. He gave us that idea. Melissa got the stuff together. We went out one evening after dark. We put it up. And then Daniel went out there a few days later, a couple of weeks later, and moved it from that spot to where close to where we're seeing the light. Yeah. So I mean, our mind's open to anything. I mean, we don't shut anybody down. We can only express what we experience. And people take it for what they want. I mean, that's all we can ask for. I mean, if they don't want to believe it, that's fine too. We know what we experience. Because I got no ego to bruise or feelings to hurt. I mean, we're out there to have fun, camaraderie, enjoy wildlife, and to do the research we're doing. Now it just so happens our research has expanded a little bit more based on our recent experiences.
And guys, Daniel, I'm going to have to be exiting here pretty soon, brother. I'm sorry. I wish I could stay, but my lung capacity is not what it used to be, and I'm surprised I've lasted this long. So, but I just realized that there is a lot more than just flesh and blood out there. Okay, there's a lot more to structure and stuff. You're going to find certain things out there that don't make complete sense to you, but when you actually go and talk to a medicine person, you're going to realize that sometimes our ancient ancestors did these things in ways. Rock structure is a big one. Trail markers. Okay, we'd always turn a rock a certain way, or we'd use a magnetic rock to put in the pile. Okay,
wild logo.
We when it comes to structures, you have to be careful on looking at that, okay? Because you have to understand how we as indigenous people do those things, like our teepees, okay? We were nomadic. If they're nomadic, you're going to find a lot of those structures like that around, because where are they going to sleep otherwise? In a cave?
Right, exactly.
Yes. So I mean, you're going to find these things, but you have to rationalize these things, okay? You can't just label everything, like Daniel said, as Bigfoot doing it, okay? Because you have bushcrafters out there, like I said, and you have feral people out there, like I said, that have been doing this type of stuff for better part of hundreds of years. Okay. I mean, Daniel Boone used to make this kind of structures, when he was out in the wilderness. So, I mean, you have to really keep an open mind and just find the patterns, because you're going to figure out the way that they're put together is going to show you a lot. Okay.
They have meaning.
The direction that the door is opening is another one. Okay. So take it from me. Keep those two things in mind. Look for the patterns and look for the door entrances. Okay. And you'll understand as soon as you start figuring it out. Okay.
We have those.
But, much respect to everybody. Everybody very
Thank
much.
You, William.
And I gotta go. Okay.
Tatsai, William.
Tatsai, thank you.
Many blessings.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good night, William.
Take care, buddy.
Hey guys,
I just want to add
quick. I'll go ahead. Go ahead.
Just one thing. Geographical matters. You know what I mean? Like, my land is not like your land. I don't have bushcrafters in southeastern Massachusetts. You know what I mean? So, and I found that out just by going to Western Mass. The terrain was completely different. I understood why the Vogels didn't see structures like I did. And then when they came to my place, they saw structures like, whoa, what is this? So I think geographics matter. And I don't think we're including that in. We're kind of putting that into a general baseline. I don't have bear in my area. You know what I mean? The biggest thing we have is a buck. You know what I mean? It's just, all that matters, and we have to take that into consideration as well with this discussion.
Right.
And the other thing is, Bigfoot was Littlefoot at one time, so things that are little still matter. I have an 8 inch by 3 inch perfect track. You know, the toes aren't exactly perfect, but the line coming out of it and all that stuff is in there. This was taken out of ice. It was slush that was stepped on that we had to deep freeze and turn to ice. So, like, for instance, God bless him, but Jeffrey Meldrum wouldn't consider this anything because it's 8 inches long. Unfortunately, there's not someone with 8 inches running around in the middle of the sub-zero temperatures, being a kid with an 8-inch foot, right? So this is what we took, and it's all tracked on YouTube Live. When we found it, when we cast it, the technique we had to use to cast it, the blowtorch we had to use to get it out of the ice. So Bigfoot was Littlefoot. So remember that. Just because it's not a 15-inch track doesn't mean it's not Bigfoot.
Exactly.
Actually, that's a year. That's a year old.
Yeah, that's a year old
actually
now,
this month.
Yeah, and you can check that out on YouTube Live when Wojo's down there melting that thing out, trying to get it to drop. We had to sprinkle snow in it to keep it hot so the chemical didn't burn through the ice. So I just wanted to say that geographics matter. Things are different where you guys are compared to where I am, to where Nikki is, to where you guys are, so on and so forth. So keep that in mind when you're out there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And when you're having the discussions, more importantly, when you're having discussions with researchers from different areas, understand that your canopy is not my canopy. They're two different canopies. We have different trees than you guys have. We have all kinds of different landscape, hills, valleys, rivers, brooks. They're all different. Every one of them is different. So just keep that in mind when you're talking, because if somebody's telling you something and you're going, yeah, okay, dude, you have to understand where they're standing. Kind of like what Nikki was saying, the way what she kind of stands for as a researcher. So that's all I got to say. And I know Nikki's got to get to bed. She's dozed off twice. I saw her.
I have to be up at 4 again.
Yeah, that's when Wojo was talking.
There's a lot we could have covered on here. I had some other stuff written down I would have loved to get into, but this conversation all night long has been amazing. But real quick, I do want to respond to something on Nikki as far as what David and Melissa were sharing. I mean, sharing what we've experienced at our campsite. Yes, I really did see this stuff, Nikki. I mean, I wasn't in. Nikki, you know me long enough.
We've had so many conversations, and to be truthful to everybody, I believe in the paranormal stuff. I've had my own experiences. I just don't put the two together at this point.
Right.
Even I've had experiences here in my own home that we built ourselves and had to clear, at a point. So I have a whole paranormal part too. I just don't hook the two together at this point. And
we don't either.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
We don't have any evidence to do that. I mean, we just tell what we've experienced.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people seen the orbs, and can't explain it. And so, there's a lot of questions out there, more questions. And that's what makes this all fun to talk about it. And
it's going to take us centuries to learn that too, Nikki, because that's what, like for the indigenous people, it's been going around for centuries.
Oh yeah, it's in their lore. It's their lineage. They I've been talking about it for years, and it's been all over the world. There's names, so it's out there. It definitely is. But hey, I gotta go too. It's been a pleasure to meet all of you, and
pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
So it's been awesome. Thank you so much, Nikki, for being here.
Yeah, don't be a stranger.
So much.
Okay, maybe we'll do this next week and continue the conversation. Who knows?
Open to anytime you want it. Let's go.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Everybody have a good evening.
Take care.
You too.
Take care, Nick.
How do I get out of this one?
Yeah, Daniel just
Daniel.
I don't restream. I use StreamYard.
Just yell to your daughter to start streaming.
Yeah, right. Let me start talking some more, and it'll drop on its own.
I got you right here, Nikki. You have a good night. Oh, she's already gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh no, she's still there.
Great job.
I'll hit remove right.
It's been a great show, and it's great to be part of this panel, and we all learn, and we all continue to learn through each other and others in the chat here too.
Yeah.
And that's what's big, because this is, and we did mention this earlier, and I think that the whole theory of about the mysteries of the Bigfoot brings us all together, in one way or another, of respect and learning, and it is very educational, and it's very spiritual, There's a lot happening here, and
and
it's a great journey for everybody here.
Yeah, we're gonna bring
And
some more over
everybody
to
in the chat room.
SNX Radio tomorrow night. We're gonna bring some stuff. I got a whole folder going over there of some visual. You want to talk all the stuff we talked about tonight? I have in folders on my Google Drive. 100%. I have structures that'll blow. We have structures that'll blow your mind. Lights that'll blow your mind. Lights with substance behind it. Lights with actual beings behind it. It's crazy what's going on. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And they said we couldn't get anything with a phone in our hand. It's called about.
I think it'd be perfect for Melissa, Rich.
Oh, that show?
Yeah, because she'd be like this all day. Like, oh my god, what am I looking at all day?
Yeah.
Melissa, you're gonna love that the lights. It's second to none.
I bet you he doesn't have a motorcycle either. Right?
Who's that?
Yeah.
What Melissa's staring at. Hey, Daniel, what do you
believe me, I'm paying attention. I'm just.
Oh, we know.
We know. I have something to say.
Oh, we know because you're processing. Yeah,
that's the scary kind. Dave's in trouble over there, man. She starts giving you that face. I bet you that dude's like, I'm out.
I take notes.
What the hell? She took notes.
Oh my gosh, she wrote a novel already.
That's why you keep seeing me looking down or looking over because I'm writing.
I gave up years ago.
I am copying. I need to see what you wrote down.
Melissa, I want a 1,000-word essay at the end of this week.
She already got
one. She's only taking notes. She's got to put the essay together.
1,000-word essay tonight, dude. She's over here writing.
I like to take down notes, and then I go back later and I try to research a little bit about it.
Yeah, us dumb men don't do that stuff.
I think that's neat. I like doing stuff like that.
No, I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
I do want to throw it out there for everyone tuned in tonight and listening right now. Tonight's Thursday. Normally, we don't do a podcast on Thursday, but you know what? We'll do them on random occasions. However, every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do go live with a guest, eyewitness interview, or and on some occasions they're not always an eyewitness interview. Sometimes they're researchers who want to share what they know. But tomorrow night, we do have a special guest, Todd Smith, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, who has some interesting stuff. He's based out of Pennsylvania. So I do want to make sure if you're subscribed, make sure you're subscribed so you get the notification when we go live tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with our eyewitness account. And then the month of February, we have scheduled guests for the whole month of February every Friday night. Nice. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I just want to make sure the audience is aware of that. You guys make sure you subscribe so you know when we go live 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
Notify button.
That's right. Click subscribe and make sure you get that little bell icon next to the word subscribe.
Ding,
it's very important.
Yeah, get those likes.
Absolutely.
Show the love.
I mean, it is getting pretty late. I'm sure everyone's. It's. A lot of you guys got to get up the next morning. I don't have work tomorrow. I know, but I get up on Friday mornings. I take my grandson to school, so yeah.
Daniel, real quick, there is a question in the group chat here. It says, William, since William left, if I may ask again for the panel, what do you think the big quote unquote X's signify? Thank you in advance.
In my honest opinion, to be honest about the X formations, I've always looked at them as a form of a warning. Basically, indication not to go beyond this point. I mean, that's my honest opinion. I always felt like it was a warning to the other Bigfoot and Sasquatch. Yeah, don't travel beyond this point. It's not safe. I mean,
like a boundary.
But they say that though. Exactly. Daniel, they say that, but I had a 40-foot X in my backyard. I walked around. I'm still respected.
I've done it before too.
I'm not saying wrong. I'm not saying you. I'm saying you're right. That's what I wrote in their comments. Actually, right. I said the same thing. They say that, but they also say an X on the ground is welcoming. So, it's different things. But you look at the X, and the first thing you think of is like, don't go there. Well, what do? I go there.
I mean, entertaining the thought. Yeah, entertaining the thought. That's what I believe it is. It doesn't make it a factual piece of information, but entertaining the thought. If it's what it is, a warning sign not to go beyond that point. I don't think that's for us though. I mean, that might be for them, not the. Hey, there's humans down there. They camp down there. They come down there. Don't go down there.
Yeah, probably right. Talk.
I mean, that's just me.
Unless they perceive you as a threat.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I agree. I think it's
Me-
more like a territorial type thing, but they don't perceive us as a threat for the most part. Now you hear other people's stories. I don't know what they were doing to come up on an aggressive one or whatever the case may be on that. But
Well, there's a lot of symbolism involved in there, like fire, earth, air, water, or north,
There's
south,
so many
east,
things,
west.
dude. So many things.
So
And
many things.
William said about knowing the meanings, right? We deal with a lot of rectangles. Rectangles are very spiritual. So we deal with we moved the gifting chair because a hunter set up a stand.
you find rectangles?
Rectangles, yeah.
Rectangles.
Yeah, we have
When you say
rectangles.
rectangles, are you talking about
Triangles,
formation on the
asterisks.
ground or up in the air?
No, both. Both. But
Both.
the one in the air is the most important right now. Again, YouTube Live. We've had to move the gifting chair because of this hunter that moved into the area. We knew that we had to move that chair, so we moved it. Blah blah blah. So when we went to move it, I look over, or we all kind of looked over because it was right there. There was this rectangle leaning on this tree, like a little arch, and it's leaning like this. And I'm like, what the hell? That was never there because we were in this gifting chair for over a year in that spot. So I go over and I find where the stick came out of the ground, but there's a hunter's chair there, right? So there's a human element, right? You got to go, oh my God, the hunter was there. And it wasn't a huge stick. I could tell you it was a huge stick and be a liar, but it wasn't. I could have moved it, But when we went and finally found out where we were supposed to go, we stopped at 2 spots. And we were there the first time, and it just felt like that was where we were supposed to go. Well, we go around the back of the area, I look up, and there's the same exact structure right there at the new spot with the chair. And Mojo looks up, and I look up, and he goes, Rich, look up. I went, oh, my God, they wanted us to move it here. The structures matched from the one they built to the one that was in the new location. 100% YouTube Live, watch it yourself.
Huh.
We could not believe it, man. We could not believe it. And the rectangle now has been appearing all over the place like this with an arch that goes across it. All documented. But yeah, like Lori Ladd has been there. She's watched our show. Elder Medicine Bear Claw, she's a regular on the show. Kurt, all the people that were here, they all watch it. Denny, they've all seen this stuff. We've all discussed it right in front of them. And this is the types of things like I think William was talking about. Kind of understand the meaning. You know what I mean? They told us where to go. When we got to the right spot, there was the same structure that they had to build because there wasn't the same structure over there at the other chair. It's reality. We lived it, and it drew away the hunter theory because it was the same structure. I have them side by side in pictures. You can look at them. You can go on the YouTube Live anytime you guys want and listen to anything I just told you for almost 3 hours now, and just watch the shows. And you're going to go, oh, my God, he said that. Oh, my God, he said that. It's all right there. Yeah. That's why I do that. Because it is about wanting respect.
Daniel, real quick.
Yeah.
Is that we had with the gifted chair once is that I also, I gifted them and I also was sending them a message. Now I'm a man of faith and I had a cross. I put the cross down thinking, they would understand because, spiritual, and because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to, hopefully they'll react. You know what the reaction was? As I looked down, the only thing that was different was the cross was flipped upside down, but it was on an angle at 1:00. And I looked down, I go, hey, the cross is, they moved the cross. It's turned. And as I turned, before I even looked up, my friend Andy goes, look up in the tree. Exactly where the point where it was pointing to the tree. As we looked up, and there was the vertebrae up in the set of bones up in the tree. Wow. And then I immediately started Googling spiritually why the bones are up in the tree.
Yep.
It's death and rebirth.
Yep.
And then Richie's like, we have to get this out of here.
We got to get it out of here. They're telling us to move it. They're telling us to move it because that dude moved in. That was communication. This is the type of stuff that we're trying to tell people. This is the type of critical thinking, like David said, the critical thinking type of communication. And not only that, we moved it to the next spot. It was wrong. The only thing moved again. I took the spine. I said, we got to bring it with us. And listen, look at all my bones. I didn't feel like I could have kept that perfectly set of rack vertebra in my cool ass podcast studio, but something told me not to. So we hung it up at the next spot. We come back, everything's the same. The spine's still hanging there and everything. But what's moved is the cross. The cross is pointing to the peat moss. I kept yelling, dude, they're telling us to go to that peat moss area right now. I'm telling you, bro. Didn't I say that? And we went to the peat moss area, and that's where the chair stands tonight. And that's where that structure was that matched the structure that we found over by the hunting chair.
Huh.
And by the way, when we got there, we hung the spine up to say, is this it? We come back, the spine's gone. It's never been seen again.
Never been seen. We scoured the area.
I said, dude, they told us we were right. They told us.
And I kind of looked that up spiritually too. And it was
they took it back.
It was like basically, I can't remember exactly in the top of my head because I'm a little tired. But it's like, this is good.
Yep, it's absolutely insanity.
It's protecting us as much. They're protected, but they're protecting us. Mm-hmm. The area because it was sacred to them. Because we were having this form of communication. And now we're starting to understand.
Yep, and it's sacred to us, and they know it.
Wow.
Yep, there you go, cuckoo.
That's how my mind is right now.
I feel cuckoo. Well, that's it for me, I guess. I got to go to bed too.
So real quick, if anyone wants, on my show Home of the Boom on this past Tuesday, see that episode, and I read, and I explained about about the significance of the spiritual side of the shapes of the structures and things like that. And check us out. Check out our work. You'll see all types of different pictures and stuff like that.
And
so you get an understanding.
Episode, wait. In that episode, towards the very end of it.
Oh, yes.
We have a revelation with our research right there on the show. And it has something to do with the number 19. And it's absolutely mind-blowing. I had goosebumps all over my body. When you watch that episode, you get towards that end and you watch that, there's a structure like we were talking about, like a teepee. But this one was kind of like 3D. It wasn't the other ones we find with 3 or 4 sticks. This was like a geometrical type of teepee. Absolutely wild. Watch that.
Hexagonian? I can't
remember. The telephalosomomonium flosser. Yeah, that.
Yeah. For future reference, we're going to get together all of this again. We're going to do this again. We've been talking about structures on and off, and I'm going to gather some of my pictures, and we'll talk about them. If you guys want to share some too, send when we schedule this in advance. Send me some pictures of your.
I hope you're prepared because we're gonna bring it, man. Because we got
I'll bring a few that are some of the ones I've come across right here in Virginia. I mean, ones I've come across by myself and with others. We've all seen some pretty interesting stuff out here. I mean, there's.
Let's say one thing before I get off because I got to get to bed too. I heard my 2-year-old still running around upstairs. Yes, I'm an old guy. I'm an old guy with a 2-year-old. So what? It means I got a young, beautiful fiance.
The real tornado.
Yeah. When you see these arches, that ones that come back down to the ground, and they look like they're buried with a log.
Those are the ones I find interesting. Yeah.
Okay, wait. Start moving the log a little bit and lift it. You're going to find that it's buried in the ground.
Exactly. It's stabbed in the ground. Yeah.
It's stabbed in the ground. But put it back. Put it back the way you found it. Don't be disrespectful. But for research sake, I've been finding them at 8 to 10 inches buried. There's no way that's natural. I don't want to hear it.
No, I mean, I've come across a lot of bone trees, and a lot of them could be explained by natural occurrence because trees do bend and reach and stretch for the sun. But when you find the end of it going down into the ground so many inches, makes you really think about that, doesn't it?
You can't know what's playing that.
To me, again, it's like a purpose. It's like a structure, but it's a glyph.
Yeah.
When something's jabbed into the ground. I mean, it's fascinating stuff.
The other thing that's really incredible is finding the ones that are bowed over, and right where it meets the ground, it's broke, and the rest of it's still growing up. Something ran into the ground, and it broke, and it's still stretching out. So,
you're right, 100%. You're onto it.
Yeah, I've come across that numerous times here in Virginia.
Yep. Well, then start looking up.
A lot of things we can talk about on this there, for sure. So.
Yeah, and I got pictures that blow your mind. They're absolutely unexplainable structures. There's no way. Joe and I have been all through it. And the dream catcher is the first one I really found that blew my mind. I knew other things weren't right, but that dream catcher, that'll knock the socks right off. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we got to start growing that beard, Rich, if we're going to go to Virginia. So
I'm working on
Yep.
it, bro.
I know. I got to work on mine.
Look at bro. I got like 4 chest hairs. I'm ready. Yeah, yeah, that's me on my scooter, Melissa. Take it in.
Oh, give me some old smoky Tennessee whiskey when I get over here in a minute. I need it now.
Hey,
Oh, Lord.
I already
so
had
much,
me some
William.
Crown Royal over here, so and then I've been sipping on beer after that.
Yeah, I go for the moonshine, baby.
I got to go chase a 2-year-old around, and I'm 54 years old. This is not going to go well for me. So wish me luck.
Yeah.
Many blessings to everybody. Hi, William. Absolutely, William. I see you out there, brother. Me and you are friends. Me and you are brothers. I want you to reach out. We got to get together and talk, my man, because he knows things.
Yeah.
He knows things about our area that he was talking about tonight. That's going on in our area. We need to speak to him.
Yep. Definitely speak
sure,
to
for
him.
sure.
Well, it's been great talking to you guys again.
Yeah.
We'll do it again.
You guys, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Definitely
Thank
had
you.
to.
And I got to go chase a 2-year-old around. Wish me luck.
Yeah. And
Have
everyone,
fun. May the fourth be
How do
with
I
you.
get out of this thing?
Been
be
there,
sure to
done
tune
that.
in.
Good night, Daniel.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, Daniel. David,
Thank
Melissa,
you guys
great
for
to
being
see you.
here.
Good night.
Wojo, shut the hell up. We'll see you guys later. Richie P, baby. Come see me. Let's go.
That's right. Be sure to tune in
He's
Friday
awesome.
night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Bigfoot Zone, ECBRO. Make sure you guys are subscribed. See you guys soon.
See you,
Thank you guys.
Wojo.
You guys
Bye.
have a good night.
Have a
Love you
good
guys.
night.
I want to thank everybody else, everybody that's been on here tonight. You guys were awesome. Thank you for interaction through the live chat. If you're watching this on the rerun, we do have our ECBRO Bigfoot Radio. You can listen to the audio platform on this again on ECBR Bigfoot Radio, which is heard on any of your major podcast platforms. If you're a podcast listener through audio only online radio, again, ECBRO Bigfoot Radio. We are part of the Media Squash Network, and we appreciate your interaction. And be sure to follow, subscribe, and I can't thank you guys enough for being here tonight. You guys were awesome, and there's so much more we got going on. We have open discussions like we did tonight. We have eyewitness interviews coming up. We try to plan them out for every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes we do schedule things very randomly. So just as long as you're subscribed and you click that little bell icon, you'll get the notification every time we go live. So thank you again. Keep it squatchy. And if you're not following me on Facebook, I'm Daniel Benoit, founder of the ECBRO, the East Coast Bigfoot Researchers Organization. And be on the lookout. Coming soon, streaming soon on the streaming networks is our Bigfoot research series, Bigfoot Explorers, and also Gone Rogue. It will be a Bigfoot series with me only. It's coming to the streaming networks in the near future. So follow me on Facebook, look me up. I'm all over. I'm not hard to find. And I want to thank all my panel members tonight and all the audience and the viewers. You guys were amazing. I can't thank you guys enough for being here. So keep it